Hello everyone and welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. I hope you're doing well today. Tonight I have a very special guest with us tonight. It's Mr. Stargods from Canada, the creator of the YouTube channel Stargods. It's Rick, and he is the myth, the man, the legend, the comedian himself, the truth bomb narrator. Rick, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you. I've enjoyed your channel for many years, and it's a pleasure to have you with us tonight. Yeah, so maybe I was thinking, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're from Canada. For the people that aren't familiar with your work, maybe just give us a little rundown of what Rick is all about, what Mr. Stargods is all about.
One day I decided, my whole.
All right, Rick, I apologize. We lost.
Write a book, and so I wrote.
Okay, Rick, I apologize for interrupting, sir. Do you mind just repeating what you just said? For the audio channel wasn't going through on your end. They heard me, but for some reason, it wasn't coming through on yours. But I think it's okay now. Want to just try? There we go. We're good. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, just repeat like the last 30 seconds or a minute. So, Rick, tell us who you are.
Okay, I just, I just a regular guy, born and just dropped out on the floor asking questions. I've been on that road ever since. And then all my life I wanted to write a book, so I wrote a book, The Return of the Stargods, and then I started a website, but it was getting a lot of hits, but I didn't feel like putting money out, and I just ended it, and and then I just started YouTube almost 14 years ago, and then they never liked me, and so they were shadow banning me back then and everything, and so here I am today.
Nice. So what was the name of the book? Was it called Stargods?
Yeah, Return of the Stargods.
Return of the Stargods. And is that still available for sale?
Yeah, but it's kind of outdated. I kind of, I wish I could do another book, but it takes about a good year at least.
Oh, yeah, to write a book, absolutely. Yeah, sometimes even longer. So how long did you have your website for, and what was that centered around?
Number of years.
Okay.
But I just 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I was getting pretty good there. I was getting 1 million hits a day. So,
wow.
Or no, 1 million hits a month, sorry.
Wow.
And I don't know, it was always, I don't like seeing money go out to nowhere, you know.
Yeah. So you couldn't pull in like any ad revenue, or just didn't really want to deal with.
It was
nothing.
Not very often.
Okay.
But I get good money, but not very often.
Gotcha. So
and then everyone says, "Oh, you're so greedy, you money grabber, and all this. That's what you're in for it for. You just want to be another Davidite."
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't want to be popular.
Yeah, the truther and the truther community, should we say, and I say that very loosely. There's something about someone making a little money on the side that is like big no-no. I don't know.
They go nuts.
Yeah.
They just turn on.
It's like any other industry that people want to try and make a, not necessarily a living, but even side income on, is fine. But when it comes to this area of our world, no, it's not allowed. How dare you?
Yeah, you're supposed to give it all out for free, and even the YouTubes take up a lot of my time.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind giving the information for free, but if you had a website, you have to pay the hosting fees, you have to that's a lot more work than turning on a camera on YouTube,
Yeah, and it's money just going out to nowhere, But then they turn on you like, but they don't mind Benny Hinn up there, Yay, fill up my hat, Don't mind him at all.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like your awakening? Like what catapulted you? What were the turning points in your life to waking you up to what the hell's going on in this shit heap we live in?
Um, Nothing particular, except maybe a few drugs in my day. But other than that,
So like what year did it kind of start for you?
since I was born,
Well, yeah, I get
yeah,
that,
I
but
feel
yeah,
like I'm a salmon
yeah.
that suddenly now I got to get upstream.
Mm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
I got to get upstream. I got to, you know, I got to get to the top of the mountain. But the higher you go up, the more jaded and you get, and the more doubtful, and the more you just get fed up after
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, you reach a point where it's just you have to not give a fuck. You care, but you have to not really give a fuck because you realize there's really not much anything we can do. There's pretty much no hope. And this year, if anything, has proved that, right? I mean, this year really. I mean, we knew before this year, but this really cemented our
Oh yeah,
this just knowing that nothing is going to change, at least with the people.
yeah, and and then you have your opinions, and it steps on the toes of this guy, and then they do a call out on you, and and
Mm.
he's an infiltrator, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there are lots of them out there, but I've been watching you long enough, man. I know you just do your thing, and if people listen, great. And that's kind of what my channel's like. It's like I just, if people listen,
Yeah,
great. Otherwise, I don't give a shit, and I don't care if anyone believes me or doesn't believe me or wants to. I don't care.
exactly. And
It's
I'm not going to play fake personality,
yeah,
to keep this image up,
yeah.
because I just tell people I have no credibility, so
Mm-hmm.
don't point that stick at me.
Yeah, yeah. We're just everyday people who figured out what type of shit show we live in, and that's it. I mean, we're just
Yeah, it's
trying.
my
Yeah,
journey, and
yeah.
everybody's welcome to see what I go. But other than that, I have no agenda or nothing to push or anything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wide open, and I'm open to anything. I've actually taken all my sacred cows and barbecued them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I
good.
don't have any. I don't I don't care what anybody. And even if I really believe in something, I
Mm-hmm.
know I can't prove it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I really believe in somebody and somebody says, "Well, you can't believe that because of this and this and this," then
Mm-hmm.
I won't be believing that
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I gotta see. I gotta see. Thing. I'm an observer,
Yeah.
and that's what I just observe. I'm not. I don't have some kind of secret cult that I'm trying to get people into. It's just and people don't really grasp a whole lot. I
No.
realize that. I found out I got a special personality, FGMC or something. I forget
Mm-hmm.
what it is, but there's only 2% of us like me.
Okay. Oh yeah. So
So
it's the personality lettering test thing. I forgot what the
yeah,
Bricks
I forget
Meyer or
what.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
apparently, I'm
I'm
only
sorry.
2% of the world's population. So everybody's against me. I'm schizophrenic now.
uh, so, um, I guess you want to maybe talk to us a little bit about the Archons, because I know
Oh, the
that's a
art.
yeah.
I dealt with them all my life, and
Okay.
I'm just like, yeah, everybody thinks it's just such a groovy, trending Facebook subject.
Yeah.
Hey, thumbs up, man. They, they, people don't understand that there is one assigned to you from birth
Hmm.
to ruin your life, to corrupt you, to do whatever it takes. And then the more upset and more distraught and stressed out and depressed and all that you become, that's called whoosh. Somebody invented the word. I'm so glad they did.
Yeah. Robert
Loosh.
Monroe. Yeah. The
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yep.
So they're sitting up. The gods are all up there with straws, getting all that good stuff in them, And that's what the reptilians are here for. They're to structure us, to make us conform, wear masks, anything that'll make people upset and distraught. But then you can't take them on and punch them in the nose, right? Because they're like an invisible fifth column about us, in amongst us. But the best teaching film that I came across was Alien Nation, and it shows how they're just so intertwined with our society. You can't pick them out. It's like black flies being picked out of a barrel of pepper. It's almost impossible, And they talk about a drug in the movie, and obviously they're like an organized crime group that deal with this drug, and it's obviously adrenochrome is what they're talking about, because they have to give you the truth. It's part of their belief system.
It's not. It's probably some sort of universal law too, right?
Yeah. But you don't have to tell you it's true.
No, they don't.
They can put it in a science fiction movie, cartoon, whatever. But you've been told, You've been told, and it's a relentless. Oh, and then you have. I read Dr. Jacobs' book on hybrids.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar.
Oh my God! He says there's hundreds of millions of hybrids. They're replacing us, because the hybrids don't fight back. They're kind of airheads. They just don't. Yeah, okay. We want your firstborn sacrificed to Baal. Oh, okay. They're just dumb. I voted for Biden, so it should be okay. Yeah. And they're so. And another really, really, two of the most top movies I think everybody should see is The Adjustment Bureau and Dark City. Dark City is a biography of the Archons and how they work, how they operate, and same with the Adjustment Bureau, how they plan your whole life and they position you into where they want you to go, like cattle, because they know you and they know the reaction you're going to have, and they can steer you in every which way, right? And I fought Archon since I was like 12 years old. I had a nightmare, and I went in with my parents, and I was just falling asleep, and I felt a thumb, like, really hard. And I just, what was that? And for years and years and years, I never knew what that was. And then I read a book about the shadow people, which are Archons, and it said that's what they do. It's the weirdest thing. They'll just poke at you in the middle of the night or something. And I thought, yeah, that's my problem. So I did a lot of power of intention. I weaponized my power of intention.
There you go.
Oh, and then people go, "Oh, you're so violent. You're so violent. Please run away now."
Yeah.
And so I weaponized, and I finally got rid of them. After so much. But then the cronies started coming, and I got them out of there too. So it's been smooth sailing in that department ever since.
Yeah, I really think I've done quite a number of videos, including just the other day I had a bunch of synchronicities. I'll send you the video later, but that's for another day. But I think it's really important that people understand how powerful your intention is. I mean, you said it right there. And if a lot of people say, "Oh, well, it's just bullshit. You're just saying something and thinking something and blah blah." Well, guess what? It works. It fucking works. Yeah.
Well, I find when it works, it really works.
Yeah.
With little effort. But then there are stubborn days where you really work at it and nothing.
Yeah, but I think it really also depends. Like, a big thing is the topic. Like, if we're talking about spiritual defense, it works quite well pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I think other things, like I was saying in my previous video with after all the synchronicities, and I've done weird summoning with orbs and stuff like that and anomalies outside, and I run through this whole script on how I only want positive beings who are not deceptive, who do it of their own free will. It also takes the point of throwing that out there, letting it simmer, forgetting about it, not thinking about it, releasing it, so to say, into the universe, and then it will take care of itself in due time. But, if you're wishing for, a couple $1 billion or something like that, or trying to manifest a couple $1 billion, it doesn't work that way. It's not, it doesn't happen, so
yeah,
that's all. I just wanted to throw that in there. That's all about intent. I think it's so important.
Well, it really saved my goose.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd still have the problem. Oh, but they're there. They're assigned to you right from birth, and they're there to make your life hell on earth. But then people can't grasp these things. They just, well, I didn't see it in the newspapers. What's going on? And what people love, they love to say, like, reptilians don't exist. You're all retards, But they only don't believe in reptilians because they've never been tapped on the shoulder by one. And if they get tapped on the shoulder, but I do believe the cowardly lion, I do believe, slobbering all down. But people, they have to wake up into that area, but they say, I woke up. I now know that 9/11 was an inside job. Wow, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, yes. Take a bow.
Yeah. We've got to know the others, the beyond the veil, and how it's affecting us, But then people are just, I don't even know how to describe them. But I think when I read David Jacobs' book, I was just like,
yeah, it's a fascinating book. Yeah, I've gone really deep in the Jacobs work, and even though I might not necessarily believe they're outer space aliens, I think that there are just demonic type entities that come and are transferring portions of humanity into things like politicians, corporate executives, and your everyday person down the street, who's a psychopath or blank, kind of like you're saying with the hybrid.
There's far more psychopaths than people are talking about. The narrative says about maybe 6 or 10%. I think it's far more than that, because I got a sharp eye. You see, I used to be a counselor, so I know where what they're talking about is coming from. I can and I'm seeing quite a number of it's getting, they want us gone. They want to replace us with the hybrids or the reptilians or robots. They just want yes men. That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
And they don't want us to fight them,
No.
But I notice you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I was under attack by a reptilian," and I said, "In the name of Jesus, you be gone." And what people don't understand is that they're not afraid in the name of Jesus. They're afraid of your concentrated anger towards them. They freak. They can't handle it too well. So your best defense is focus your entire rage against them, and they won't stick around. They can't feed off that. But if you're sitting there going, "Oh, I'm so fearful," they're just, like a fly with a big sponge mouth. They're sucking up all this energy and, and getting stronger by the minute.
Yeah, no, it's it's crazy. And what they'll do is they, in Jacob's book, I'm sure you're familiar with this part where he talks about how they basically study humanity as they're growing up. They're downloaded with a portion, but they study to learn how to act around other humans as normal, quote unquote.
That's beings. What psychopaths do.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. They
They
copy.
get in front of the mirror and, "I'm sorry for your loss, Mrs. Johnson." It's all practice, See, if there's a car accident, they'll go to a car accident and they'll look and watch all the people's reactions. They
Mm,
won't look at the car accident. They're studying, you know.
yeah.
And this is why Hollywood's full of them. You know, they all want to be famous and they know how to act.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how this just during the whole stupid thing that we've been dealing with all year, how the celebrities were so craved for fucking attention that they needed to go on their social media and they were just acting like total freaking weirdos. And but you know that's who they really are. That's who they're showing who they really are because they're locked in their house and they can't leave. Not only because of their handlers, but because of everything that was going on. So
Yeah.
they basically they showed how ridiculous and attention craved they are. They need that attention. The psychopath attention narcissistic crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, if you start looking in people's eyes and never take your eyes off of them, you'll see a lot of slit building
Mm.
and membrane action and everything. You'll
Yeah.
start noticing, and then you'll be when I had my Stargods site, I had a whole beautiful page. I put everything about reptilians on it, right? And so I had these people naturally asking, "Am I a reptilian?" And I'd say, "Well, send me a picture of yourself." And
Mm.
I'd come back, and then I spot the odd, what do you call it, scale, and I'd spot the eyes, and then one girl, she says, "Oh, you've got to tell me, am I a reptilian?" She sent me a picture. She's outside, and it's just she's looking up at something, and it was her eyes were just like slits, right? So I told her I thought
Mm.
she'd be upset. She was so happy.
Huh. Happy. Well, wow.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, yeah, this is great news." And I'm going, "Oh, okay." But they're all a lot of them, especially the housewives and stuff. They're afraid to death of getting caught shape shifting.
Mm.
When they're in bed with their husbands or in front of their kids and all that, they're just terrified of it.
Yeah, I mean there are. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's two people I'm aware of, a couple that both of them I talk to, who have that. You know, um, yeah, I really shouldn't go too much further with it, but one of them is they're both very good people. One is a really good person who was quite dark for a long period of their life, and I'm just gonna say it. I mean, they changed for the better, and I'm impressed. So I don't think that they're necessarily all soulless or lacking of spirit, should we say? But I think it takes a lot for that type of personality, that type of programming to break free of the program that they were initiated with, or in David Jacobs' case, genetically the DNA strands were inserted in them, or however you want to put it. They were turned into hybrids, and but I think some of them can break free. I do, because there's one I'll show you. I'll send you some of the video sometime down the road, but I think some of them can break free of it. I do. But I think it's a very, very small percentage. And if they have that personality type, they're not the types who are going to be running corporations or be politicians. Those people are the cream of the crop psychopath that they want in control of things.
Yeah, the nasty ones and the hybrids, they all seem to me, from my experience, they all have a passive aggressive personality in which they kind of twist your life around, and then it's them. Like there was this woman who was making breakfast for her husband, and she burnt the toast. And he got really mad at her and started yelling at her, and she was doing the victim thing, but he knew that it was on purpose because
Ah.
he did something that ticked him off, or no, ticked her off, and she burnt the toast because he knows her so well. And there's one lady I know that she and her husband were going through the United States, and they went to a restaurant, and then 50 miles after they ate, 50 miles away, she goes, "Oh, I left my purse. I left my
Mm-hmm.
purse behind." And that was just to get back at him. They're very passive aggressive.
Yeah.
And naturally, the husband gets all, wired, and that's all food for the gods.
Oh yeah, again you brought up the loosh, which is the perfect description for it. I mean, Robert Monroe's everyone should check out his 3 books about going outside the body. 3 masterpieces, and he knew what was going on, but he hid a lot. You can tell he hid a lot because he had religious beliefs that were probably blocking him from going forward, and he also had the CIA on his ass as well, with his institute there in Virginia, the Monroe Institute. Which is great for learning out-of-body experiences and stuff. You're familiar with some of Robert Monroe's book? I know you were familiar with the term loosh, but did you ever read any of his stuff?
Monroe, yeah, I saw. He's on the internet. He had a thing about Star Trek, which was really good.
Oh, you're talking about the one with the one where they're the Arcanic father,
the
right?
Amoeba type monster, the amoeba-looking monster was coming to the ship.
Oh, I don't know if I remember that one. I remember the one where I'll send you the video. I'd love to play it for you right now. It'd be so great, but I've gotten a copyright thing for that in the past because it's such a good video. It's basically, I'll give you a short rundown. I don't remember the character in Star Trek off the top of my head, but basically she dies in the physical for a brief time.
Oh yeah.
And is brought back to life, and the father is there waiting at the light, to try and bring her through, but she realizes that it wasn't her father and says, "You are trying to trick me to come with you," so basically trying to be tricked into the light. I can't remember the name of it.
Codex.
I'm sorry?
I think it's called Codex. It's on Netflix.
Oh, Codex. I was talking about Star Trek, but Codex is the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is what it sounds like to me is Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Voyager. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and where the old guy is trying to, come on, go to the light. Come on, go to the light.
Yep.
She said, "My father would never push me like that."
That's it. Yep, that's the clip. Yep. Janeway, right? Isn't it Janeway? I think it's Janeway. Yeah. It's just great.
My favorite Star Trek.
It's great. So I just wanted to welcome everyone real quick before we continue here, brother. You got a nice crowd here tonight. We got Stargods with us, as everyone knows. And I want to make sure everyone knows that we can, if you got a question, just throw it up there in caps, and I will make sure that he gets it. So a quick shout out to Desert Rat, Infinite Corridor, Disintegral, Vicky, Black, Desert Rat, Flinghammer, and let's see, I think so. Out on the Wire just came in. So welcome everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. And again, if you got questions, just throw them up there in caps, and we will get to them with our brother Stargods with us here today. So I think probably the next topic we should probably cover is maybe the Matrix. You think that's just the fact that we're living in one, the Earth Realm Matrix, I kind of call it, or the Earth Realm. You want to talk about that?
Well, the Matrix it's a construct. I am absolutely convinced from what I've observed. It could very well be a holographic construct.
Mm-hmm.
And then people go, well, I can tap this table and it's solid, and I drink Lucky beer, and they don't understand that with a hologram, which was explained to me by Star Trek, is that it's just projected light with a force field around it, which makes a lot of sense, and everything is structured. Like we're in this big giant video game called dualism, eh?
Yeah.
And we don't. There's also a good episode on Voyager. It's called Sacred Ground.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I lost you.
Yeah, no, it was slowing down a little bit, so I just paused the video on my end, but you're good. Keep going. Sometimes when it slows down, I just do that. I should have warned you. I'm sorry.
There was an episode called Sacred Ground, and
Mm-hmm.
it just shows you everything in this life is meaningless, and that we just take it for serious, and it's not. And the Mandela effect proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that reality is not formed in stone. I mean, reality is like plasticine. This is what, and same with the power of intention. Reality can be shifted, and I'm not talking about little name games like it was Fruit Loops. This,
Yeah.
I find them so petty. But the reason I got into the Mandela effect, I got a big kick in the head from that one. I have a disc, Twilight Zone episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching it for years. I grew up. I used to watch them when I was a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a writer, and I like to know the person who is writing. So at the end of every show,
Credits, yeah.
is written by Rod Sterling.
Yeah.
And I saw it thousands of times. I've seen it, Rod Sterling. I used to talk about it with a friend of mine, and we'd always talk about the Twilight Zone. And then one day I see online where the Mandela effect, and I went, I'll put this mystery to bed. I'll just look it up on my DVDs. And it changed to Serling. It was Serling, right there on the very film itself, Serling. And then my friend goes, oh, it was always Serling. And I said, no, we've had lots of discussions about this. No. And I'm talking about real shifting of lots of times I've experienced something with somebody and it's really intense, and then a week later they don't know what I'm talking about. Well, no, that's not true. That's never been true. And that's what got me. So now we understand for a fact that reality is plasticine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not carved into stone.
No way. Again, like, I don't want to harp on this too much, but since you're talking about this, I think it's important to say, I should have gave you the video before you came on, but I had just brief summary. The other day, this was 3-4 days ago, I was driving. I had two destinations to go. Okay, I turn on just a random podcast about something. I can't even talk about it here because the YouTube police. But anyways, I'm driving, and as there's a list of, I wrote it down. There's like about, I think, 9 or 10 different things that as I was listening would appear to me while I was driving. So I am talking within less than about a 15-minute period or less, with a stop. I stopped about halfway through and I said, let me just swing over here and see if it continues, because by then I realized what was going on. And then it's like the whole thing just waited for me, and I continued, and it just went until all the way to my final destination and finished off in the parking lot in front of me as I was getting ready to go in. It was incredible. But anyways, it just goes to show that, reality is not what it seems at all. I mean, it goes beyond the pale of synchronicities of what happened the other day. And just like you said, and same thing with the Rod Sterling. I had that too. I always thought it was Rod Sterling. I watched hundreds of the Twilight Zones over and over again.
Well, then people tell you, oh, your memory's a funny thing, and all this. And please run. I mean, I know after all those years and years of watching the show over and over again, I'm not a born-again retard. Well, I was going to mention I was pulling out on the highway, right? So I'm pulling out on the highway, and I have to let this truck go by. So I let the truck go by, and then I turn the opposite way, going into town, right? and the truck's coming towards me, the same truck,
Oh.
exactly the same truck. Oh well, you just weren't paying attention enough. You got these naysayers, you know, they're kamikaze naysayers. They have to disprove it, and they'll come up with the stupidest arguments. You just want to, you know, like you go, oh, it's a beautiful cloudless day today. No, it's not. You get really offended. There's a cloud, small cloud over there in the mountain. Oh, big deal. You know, like drive you nuts. But I'm learning reality is just it's like spandex or something. It just, but everybody takes it. But that's what that whole episode on Star Trek Voyager it was about sacred ground, how everything is meaningless, and how Janeway had all this belief in science, and they're just kind of like, yeah, science, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So with so obviously, like, so basically, if for the Matrix portion, you're probably under the assumption, like you had mentioned, that it's probably holographic universe of some kind or holographic realm of some kind, right?
It would explain a lot.
Yeah.
It would explain a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a construct, and I'm still looking for that little portal, random portal somewhere in the bush or something. I'm just gonna jump right through it.
Yeah, but you know, we remember we were talking the other day before the show, 2 nights ago, and we were saying, but what if the portal you're going into is another deceptive pile of shit like this place? Why don't you just, the way I see it, if the portal opened up right in front of me and I knew it was a portal, I would say, God, I want to go through that. But you know what? I'd rather just die here, knowing that I've only, how many years do I possibly have left? Even, it doesn't matter. Nothing could compare to me crossing over that damn thing and then being like, oh shit, what the hell did I get myself into now? Am I extending this misery? You know, is it going into worse misery? You know?
There was one story that this couple were driving along, and they're tourists, and then they find this little antique French restaurant, and they go in there, they park outside, and they're noticing everything's very ancient looking. And what it turned out to be was they actually went through some kind of time and space and ended up there. The guy said, I paid for the food with my regular money. They didn't seem to have a problem with that. Nobody really was amazed with the car parked outside. So it sounds like a programming that they're only programmed to do certain things, certain reactions, and they're not programmed to start going. And there was another on Star Trek Voyager where she was with this guy. She started falling in love with this hologram thing, and he never noticed that she comes in one time with her uniform on, and they don't notice that she's got a uniform on, because they're not programmed to receive that kind of information, which I thought was very, very connected.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I like that. So we do have a question in the chat from Black. He asks, your thoughts on quantum mechanics and quantum entanglement.
I think we've got to be very careful of quantum mechanics, because what they do is they build all these fake organizations based on fake science, and you know, how do I explain this? Girl, if you find this much of knowledge about the size of a grain of rice, and then you come across somebody else who has a grain of rice of knowledge, and you put them together, you got the bigger picture. You're on your way. That's why they've got to dummy down everything to even the most insignificant level. They've got to dummy everything down. Everything that we know has been completely dummied down. So now you can't build upon each other. little bits of information and put them. You can't do it because it's all based on in nonsense.
Yep.
And then quantum physics, they have these experiences or experiments, and they just go nuts with their theory as to what really happened. What really happened was very simple, but they elaborated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, well, this went back in time, and then it came forward again, and then But it is amazing. But I don't know if it's true. But the double slit experience.
It's definitely. I think the observer effect. I've experienced some weird stuff like that. That would be very similar concept, but like you said, what they do is they we're building off of an entire freaking industry of lies, an entire system of lies, and so you know what? The best thing you can do is, even when you're outside, you can't even barely trust what you're seeing outside. I mean, you can to some degree. But in this type of reality where we're dealing with what we're dealing with and the level that we're dealing with, you just have to, a lot of times it's better to meditate on things, think about things, process them, observe over multiple years, not just, go balls deep into things that the mainstream is pushing, because it's almost always lies. Of course there's nuggets of truth in everything, but it's all about taking all those nuggets and then finding your own nuggets and combining them for the bigger picture of what you feel could be right.
When everything is fabricated and fake, you can't build a foundation.
Mm-hmm. It's
sand.
Yeah.
That's crumbling away.
And it's like everywhere. The nuggets are everywhere. There's no way to just think about how much we know barely anything compared to the jerk offs that run this place. About the whole what we don't know about this place is probably unfathomable. Just think about what type of education that those people go through compared to us and what we don't know.
A good example is the pyramids, right? Oh no, the natives got together and they rolled it on those, and they they see some of these elaborate statues that are unbelievable, the detail. But those copper chisels are pretty good, But I was going to say that I saw a show on quantum physics, and they had the double slit experiment, and then they shut the observation on and off, and then when it came on, it went to particle and waves, right? And then at the end of the show, near the end of the show, they had this elaborate maniac exclamation. Oh, well, the ray came down, then it went back in time, and then it came, and how do they know that? It's like this boogie virus. They know now it's going to be 2 years. They know. They are experts. They know.
They know, and they predicted it too.
Yeah. And then you had Fauci there. Oh, His Holiness.
That's right. Let's say a prayer.
They had him, and he was talking about how Trump was going to have a major problem with the boogeyman. Yeah. How did he know?
Exactly. He said, what was that, in 2016? 17 maybe? He said, no doubt the next administration will have blah, blah, blah. It's so ridiculous. They just throw it in our face nonstop.
And they take, what they do? They take everything like evolution. And what they do is they cut the first part off that says theory. They cut that off. And it's a fact. Evolution is just a fact. And it's always, and when you're becoming a doctor, you have to learn this book. It's called The Theory of Germs. But now they cut that word off. Well, I'm taking a course in germs. They cut the word off, and it becomes a fact now.
Yeah.
And I read that on an agenda list one time, how they're going to take all the the speculation and turn them into factual information through all the schools and everything, and it just, you know, unbelievable. And
Sick.
what people don't seem to understand is that we're so massively controlled. I mean, we're so I don't even know if we have free will. I have no idea. Are
Uh,
my decisions mine, or are they some archon whispering in my ear? You know?
yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And remember, we were talking the other night, and I think we don't have as much to do with our free will as we hope we have.
Yeah, I'm wondering
And
about
I
that.
think we have some sort of life, like, a basic life script that is programmed into us. And then I think we can also deviate a little bit off of that script here and there. But the
That
majority of
was
it,
the
no.
that was the point behind the Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah.
He was in love with this girl, and
Hmm.
he was running for president, and they said
Yeah.
no, she's going to screw it all up, right? And they did everything they could to fight against him, and he won because he said, "I am going to marry her one day, and that I am not accepting you people, and I will fight you to the end." And then eventually, they had no power over him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great movie, and everyone should watch that. Because
Oh,
yeah, it's a highly recommended movie for truth.
and what I found really disturbing in movies was Dark City, which the aliens who are dressed exactly like archons, they come down at midnight. Everybody at midnight falls asleep, right? They just conk out, and they come down, and they'll take a poor couple. This is in the movie that are, they're eating potatoes for dinner. They inject them. Now they have a whole false memory syndrome now.
Hmm.
They know that they were born and they were rich and they live in a mansion, and then they do what's called tuning. They take their shack they're living in and they make it into a beautiful mansion. And they that's their belief system, is that they were born in riches and all that. But then the next night they might become somebody different.
Mm.
But these memories are who we are. You start fudging the memories, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And 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 a lot of things that people remember now are no longer reality because of the Mandela effect.
Mm.
They're no longer reality.
Yeah, like
And
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh,
Yep.
and, I was going to say that we have the power of intention, let's say, okay?
Hmm.
So I go, oh yeah, I'm going to imagine a house on the corner there. And all of a sudden, beep, there's the house, right?
Hmm.
But you have to have history with it too.
Hmm.
So what happens is the history's all changed. All of a sudden, I've seen this in action. All of a sudden, you've got a few guys having coffee. Yeah, I remember building that house. What do you think, Frank? Yeah, that was some house we were building. They received false memories of building a house that didn't exist.
Mm.
And David Icke was saying that there was one guy who walked to work and he walked by this skyscraper for years. And one day the skyscraper wasn't there anymore.
Mm.
And everybody said, "What skyscraper? There was never a skyscraper there. You're a freak of nature." And so if we change, like if there's change events right now, it's going to go into the past and change events back then, because everything has to have a history. They can't go by and somebody walk by, oh, there's a house just popped in last night. Oh yeah. It has to have a history. Now you have people remembering, oh yeah, I was working on that, and me and Frank, we had a good time. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I think kind of like you were saying earlier, where you have these minor changes. I'm with you on Twilight Zone and stuff like that, but there are so many, like, just like, oh, like misspelling by one letter, kind of like with Sterling. But again, I'm like you, like I know for a fact with that one. I grew up around it. Like maybe, you know, I just cannot see myself being off on that one. And just like you said, so we both experienced the same thing. You know, I grew up with Twilight Zone and Nick at Night and sci-fi all the time. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I watched it all the time. But what?
Mary is kind of off a bit.
Yeah, but like,
Well,
I
I
mean,
can
what do you
still
think
function.
about the? Yes. What do you think
But
of?
just before you get a new thought in here,
Sure, go ahead.
McDonald's. I grew up with McDonald's,
Hmm.
not McDonald's. And then I go online and I look up the original opening, and it's McDonald's. What? I grew up with McDonald's. Clearly, I have because I used to go there after school, eh? And we'd get a Big Mac, which is the signature hamburger of McDonald's. This is the Big Mac. It's not the Big Mick, you know.
Yeah.
And so that, and I got Coca-Cola bottles, antique Coca-Cola bottles. The hyphen was in the middle. Now it's on top. And I go, oh, I'll just look. I'll grab my bottles, take a look. They're all altered. They're all changed.
Yeah.
But then
yeah.
they'll say, "Oh, you're just mistaken. You know, you're getting old. You know." They're just naysayers, is what they are, and they'll that's their duty, whether they be hybrid or whatever. Their duty is to just downplay you to death, to nitpick you to death, and oh, what about this and what about that, and you probably took the bottles to the store one time and you got new ones and you don't remember, you know, like yeah, really sign up here and be committed for free. Oh, there's a free lobotomy for you. It doesn't get better.
That's one of my favorites that you do, the free lobotomy. That's a Stargods classic right there.
Oh, it's really hard on the nerves. So when I go grocery shopping, I'm down behind the counter. Yeah, I'm getting out of there. I'm hiding. Like in my day, we used to have duck and cover, eh? You know, the school teacher would flash the light and it's a bomb, and we'd all duck and cover. Well, I did that. So way back then, I was social distancing. Way back for everybody else.
The original social distancing.
Oh yeah, they just, you know, I notice with people and they say, well, I'm only here for the truth. I just want the truth. And then you tell them a little something and they get offended and they just start ranting. How dare you talk to me like that? You think I'm stupid? Do you think I'm stupid? No, but I can see that lobotomy scar there. It's starting to show a little bit there. But I just, you know, it's very hard living in this world today. It's just everybody's outcasting everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. The
Or
system has done a good job of it. Yeah.
Oh, and it's like, or you're demon possessed, or you know, the devil's talking through you, and you know.
Yeah, no, it's we're so divided, and like I like to use the analogy that we're all like they present all these boxes, and if you like this, you go into that box. You like cooking, you go into that box. You like gardening, you go into that box. You like football, you go into that box. You know, you like fishing, you go into that box. And they have it controlled down perfectly.
Oh yeah.
For every single thing someone would like. And that's it. And then they put their dirty little paws in there politically and everything else. And they mold your mind along with it. It's sick. It's absolutely sick. But I think the most egregious ones are the spiritual ones. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, the Masons started all the universities. They had control of our
Jesuits,
minds
yeah, Jesuit Masons. Yep.
Yeah. And then nobody wants to admit anything, or it's like you're considered the negative and they're the positive because they sit in their house, and when you tell them your house is on fire, get out or die. No. I just want to watch more reruns of I Love Lucy. And then Meanwhile, they're burning to death, but then they blame you. You know, you're just one of those conspiracy theorists. Yeah, I know all about it. Yeah, I saw the movie. Ha ha, and you. You know, but people are so they. I think why they don't want to know anything is because they're scared, they're terrified, and they don't need it to be reinforced. They just want to go about their lives and I work for a living. I don't have time for this crap. And they like it. That's the space that they feel safe in. That's their little baby blanket that they just all cuddle on, you know. So I can't really blame them, but I know one thing. People don't wake up until their spiritual alarm clocks go off. And nobody's going to make them wake up. Not their relatives, not anybody. Their brothers or sisters, they only wake up when they're at the time they're supposed to wake up. You know?
No, it's all about how bad. How I mean, for me, I mean, I'm sure, like you said, you've felt this way since day one, and to some degree, that's how I felt. Like, I was never satisfied with the answer to the big questions. Why are we here?
Yeah.
What is this place? What is this? What is this? What is that? What is that? I don't like what I'm being told in school. I don't like what I'm told by parents, by religious figures, whatever it is. The point is I don't like what I'm being told as the answers, and I don't accept those answers. So I'm going to keep digging. Yeah. So I know that that's the way I felt. I know that's clearly the way you felt. So how come other people don't feel that way? How come other people, you know what I'm saying?
Different genetics, different DNA, different archons attached, you know, it goes on.
Different soul, spirit, whatever you want to call it. You know,
yeah.
Maybe, maybe you and I have been here more lifetimes than others, and most of the people in this chat have been here more than others, and we're just kind of, we get it. Now we're really getting it this time.
And I ain't coming back.
That's right. So I think
they're going to have to drag me here screaming and kicking.
I think that's a perfect segue, because got to ask this question, because since you brought that up, we're not coming back. That's what honestly, I'm telling you, most of the people on this follow the channel here, we're all about, not all, but most of us are about not going to the light and declaring our sovereignty regularly, standing our ground. I assume, are you in the same camp where you're not going to go to the light when you pass?
That's kind of an odd question, because, the light, it served the narrative for years and years and years. Is it them turning us against the light? You got to be kind of thinking, like, but I know, it's like when I die, I know I got all the power over them. So they're not going to mess with me. They're going to really run from me. Yeah. But they come up as relatives, as people that you've known in the past and stuff.
Pets, religious figures, yeah.
And they keep saying, "Oh, your mission isn't over. You've got to go back." So if any one of them even hints that you've got to go back, well, they're archons. They're not your mother. They're not your brother. They're just cold-hearted reptilians, If they start to mention, "Oh, you got to go back," but the light, I'm unsure of,
Well, I kind of say this with people, like, and this is just what I would suggest. Like, you're strong. You're a strong-ass motherfucker. I know it. But basically, my suggestion to people who are even just on the fence with it, just chill and wait. You do not need to make a decision right away, because it seems very clear that they are going to turn into assholes if you don't go along for the ride right away. That's what it seems like. I mean, that's the ongoing narrative from near-death experiences and everything on TV and movies. And we could say, "Oh, well, TV and movies." Well, guess what? TV and movies hold truth. We both know that. A lot of the people listening know that, but it goes way beyond that. I mean, the near-death experience accounts, I've read tons of them. I'm sure you've read quite a few of them or listened to them, and they paint a picture that is very clear to see. That, just chill. When you die, give yourself a moment to get reacquainted with the astral realm, or whatever you want to call it.
I think DMT has a lot of connective tissue to it that, when you die, that experience, the out of body experience, is no different than a DMT experience.
Mm.
They're very, very similar,
Mm-hmm.
and they go through the similar stages. And a lot of these people that have near death experiences, they don't remember, and that's the thing with DMT. You don't really remember. It just fades away like a dream, and dreams are connected to it too.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to understand, first of all, what hallucinations are. Instead of being so dismissive, oh, it's just a hallucination. No, it's actual reality. I think it's uncontrolled, a DMT state where, how do I explain it? You have all, like, let's picture like the whole sky is full of little letters, right? A, B, C, right? And they all come down like snowflakes. Well, they don't mean anything until you put them together. So a dream doesn't really mean anything until you lucid dream. And then when you lucid dream, whoa. So I think, like Timothy Frico says, is that we need to live in it lucidly.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. I think, but I do think. I mean, there's. See, I see what you're saying with the similarities with people who do DMT. They're definitely similar to out of body experiences. Somewhat similar to NDEs because they do die and they report lots of different things. But I think the king really is near death experiences because those. I mean, there are clear accountings of what have happened to people while they're clinically dead. So I think that right there, to me, if one takes the time and really listens and reads, just listen, story after story, just keep listening, you will start to see the patterns, and the patterns are clear. All these people die and they don't want to come back, but yet they all say, oh, they loved it, it was beautiful, it was awesome, I was finally away from here, but I was told I had to go back, or but I felt I had to go back, but I didn't want to. But yet they came back, and they're all telling very similar stories. They're not telling exactly the same, but in many cases they are, like, very, very similar, and you can see the very minute differences between them all. And I think it's really important that if people want answers to the big questions, those are really the best thing you can dive into. They're the nuts and bolts to, what happens exactly, after we leave here. And, standing your ground is really important.
Well, I heard a couple of out-of-body experiences where people, they leave and then they'll see an old friend that they used to know years ago, and they don't realize that friend had actually died years ago. They had no, nobody told them.
Yeah, those are interesting ones.
But yet they experienced, they died, and they say, well, we've been waiting a long time here for you. I find that interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I can't really rubber stamp everything, in life. I have to sort of question everything, and the real problem is you can't really prove anything. You only have to go. I only go by my gut feeling. If my gut says, there's something to this, then I'm on it. I'm researching it. But I come up with my own ideas, and then I'll go to maybe Amazon.com and look for a book that will somehow agree with me. So I know I've not really truly gone off the rocker. But I always put things together first. And the thing I don't like about YouTube is all these big toe guys come and they steal all my ideas. And it's just like they don't give me credit, but they'll use my words, their narrative. It'll be exactly quoting me, exactly. And I come up with little, analogies and stuff. That they repeat the analogy word for word. Wow. And I go, yeah, you've been snooping around my YouTubes there.
Yeah, no,
and I'll tell you who's really bad. and I thought, well, I shouldn't mention it, but I will mention it.
Go ahead.
Is David Icke. He
Oh,
takes everybody's ideas, and then he makes it look like he's received it.
oh,
You know,
he's the master of it. Yeah, yeah.
oh, and he did verbatim quotes from me, and I know I instantly know. Yeah, you've been to my site. He actually had one of my posters. I had a poster, a reptilian poster, and it was at the back of the wall for his tours. It was projected on a slide in the back of the wall. He never gave me any credit or anything. You know, it's just like you're supposed to guess who made it. You know, if I had a little bit of accreditation, and then one time I had an original picture. It was sent to me. It was not put on the internet. It was given to me personally of a reptilian statue.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, okay, I'll put it up on my Stargods site. Then he comes out with a book with the exact picture in the book. He never gave me any credit or anything, which I would have really appreciated, you know? Because if I'm saying something, I'll say like, oh, well, so-and-so was talking about this and that and give credit, eh? But not Ike. He's, you know, I see it now. It's coming to me now. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Ike is part of the, you know, for as much truth as he spits out, he's definitely controlled opposition. There's no doubt in my mind that he's controlled opposition. But I mean, he spits out tons of amazing truth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, you know, he's helped a lot of people wake up in you know, an overall in a very good way. But now you know, we have people like you know, you have someone like David Icke who brought out a ton of truth with, you know, what, maybe 15-20% disinfo, and then you have idiots like the whole Q thing, and that's like what, like 20% truth, 80% disinformation. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I mean, again, you got to pick through things. But what I wanted to do is take a 5-minute break with you, so you can, you know, refill your water, use the restroom if you need to. I'm gonna go refill my water, and everyone in the
refill my vodka.
There you go, your vodka. All right, so everybody just
thinks I drink for some reason.
Yeah, I know. Everyone, people in the chat thought you were having a whiskey sour, apparently.
Yeah, there we go.
Anyways,
I'm Italian, so my arms go every which way.
Hey, oh, hey, oh. Oh.
Yeah, you know the.
Yeah. Hey, Stargods, you want a fresh one?
My grandmother.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She go like that. It hurts.
Yeah. All right, so everybody hang tight with us. We're going to I have the clock set for 5 minutes. I'll put it up on the screen, but we may be back sooner. So just keep an eye out. We'll be right back. Thank you, Rick.
5 minutes.
We'll be right back, guys. everyone. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for hanging in there. We got about a minute left until we get back with Stargods here. Thanks for joining me. And our special guest, Stargods. Alright. Alright, you ready to go? Give yourself a second. Alright. Let me just, I think that's... Yeah, okay, let me just bring us back in. I'm sorry, hold on. Yeah, I think that's a great one to go with. Okay. Alright, let's see. I think we're good. Alright. Welcome back to the show, Rich. Rick.
Yeah,
whichever
Rich,
you prefer.
Rich. I like Rich.
Alright, Rich. Alright, so, anyways, you wanted to talk about the controllers and Trump, right?
Yeah, like when I was saying that if you envision a house, it appears, but it has to have a history. Then the history is created. And the guys go, "Oh, I remember that house." Blah 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 blah. I built it and all that. So I'm thinking with the programmers, like they could just insert Trump into the program, and he would come with all his history and where he was born and grew up overnight, just like Dark City with the aliens. They're putting false memories in. So it's a disturbing concept, but
it is disturbing, and I think you brought up a good one because just I'm sure are you familiar with the books The Last President and the Marvelous Underground Journey of Baron Trump from the late 1800s?
No.
Oh, wow. Oh, I gotta help you with this one. I'll send you the books on a PDF.
Cool.
Okay, there's a author by the name excuse me, of Ingersoll Lockwood in the late I think it was the mid 1890s, late 1890s. They basically authored a number of books, 2 or 3. Well, there's 2 Baron Trump ones. Okay. And they're from Castle Trump, and Trump used to have a casino named Trump Castle. And they also talk about how little Baron Trump and his dog Bulger came from somewhere in Russia, basically northern Russia, came from the underground to travel, over, I think, to the U.S., and basically they were some sort of traveler, from, like I said, underground, the Hollow Earth, I guess you can call it, or whatever. And let's not even go there with the Hollow Earth. Let's just say they came from under the earth. And then there's a book called The Last President, which talks about a Don Fume, who is basically elected president. It's called 1900 is the name of the book, or The Last President. That's the name of the book.
Gross.
Yeah, and it predicts basically someone rising up as a populist to be president, to fight the bankers and to fight corruption. And he basically was at when the guy wins, who's basically Trump, wins the presidency, he is brought to he lives in the, I think it's the if I recall correctly, it's been a year or so a couple years since I read it. I think it was, let's just call it, I think it was the New York Hotel, okay? And where the New York Hotel was historically is where Trump Tower is today. Okay? And it I mean, it is mind-blowing stuff. And it talks about riots and unrest because this guy, becomes president.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the Trump script. So I was blown away that Trump didn't win the election, and you and I both know that it's still not over. I mean, the script seems to be ending where maybe he'll run again, or maybe they'll flip everything on its head and he'll end up getting in, and that's what'll cause the unrest. Maybe the book finishes off that way as a narrative. And then, you have there's also a comic strip back in the early 90s, I think it was, or late 80s, where Trump is in a limo in New York City and his mission is to build a wall. All this predictive programming. But I mean, the 1980s one or 1990s comic strip and all the other predictions with Trump really mean nothing, including The Simpsons. But when we're talking about when Trump wasn't even born yet, in the 1890s, and there's 2 books. One has his son's name in it. The other one has his name in it. His same address is in it. A previous establishment, but that's where his Trump Tower stands today. Way too much in there. Way too much to. I mean, it's script. I mean, everything's been almost predestined. Before he's even born.
Well, I saw one program. It was a Western, and it's about a guy.
Yeah.
Trump, and he had to save everybody by building a wall, and just that gets really bizarre, eh?
Yeah, that one is really weird. I forgot about that one. Thanks for reminding me about that one. Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, and it's got all the occult symbolism and shit going on in it. He's in the wagon, right? The guy in the wagon.
Yeah. But how long is this election thing going to take? How long does it take to count these votes?
Well, they apparently counted them, but the official certification for the country is supposed to be, I think, December 10th or 15th, something like that. So it's not that far away. But I mean, the new president doesn't get sworn in until January 20th. So technically, I won't believe he's out of office until then, But I really have a strong feeling that something wacky is going to happen where they flip it and he ends up winning somehow. I mean, it's hard to imagine, but with the way they've done business this year, would it really surprise anyone if they flipped it and threw him in office? No.
Yeah, and they threw the boogie bug at him too. His economy was taking off, and then all of a sudden everybody's sick and they have to do the mail-ins, for voting, and it was pretty clever. But that so-called con job 19, I mean, it's just fake all around. But then why are people dying? I'm thinking maybe aerosol spray.
It could be. I mean, it also just could be very simple that, they're. I mean, we know they were messing with the certificates that one receives when they pass on. Their criteria to classify it as the thing that we all know that's been going on this year is virtually nothing. They've openly admitted on TV in a press conference, I think it was actually Minnesota or Michigan, where the lady admitted that they wanted to just make sure everyone knew how these things are classified. Basically, they said they've openly admitted the person does not need to be have a positive test. Okay, all they need is to show symptoms right around or at the time of death. So that's what they said. They said that literally they can be dying of cancer, but if they showed possible symptoms of what, then okay, well then that's the what you put on the death certificate. That's what they were telling freaking coroners around the country. They sent out a mass email to all the coroners in the country. I have the email. It says it in black and white, and they announced it in a press conference on TV live. So they openly admit it.
And then in order to beat it, we must shut the economy down. Everybody should live in poverty. children should lack a childhood experiences of being children by playing with each other in the park and stuff. You can't go fishing. You can't do it. Shut everything down. I mean, that they believe this is the answer, and to isolate ourselves in our own homes under house arrest and go through periods of incredible stress and suffering and I mean that's what they want to do. They want to just shut off everything that makes us human.
They do.
In order to beat the thing, you know, the stupid boogeyman. But I think with Trump, one thing I like about Trump is that he created this narrative, where you could, you know, you could describe them in more nefarious terms than ever, like the swamp. I mean, you know, now it's regular narrative, the swamp. But he just opened up a whole new narrative.
He did. He did. And he just doesn't care.
People aware more, It wakes them up. Swamp. Yeah, that doesn't sound good, you know? But I think he's done a good job there. But I don't know. He promises a lot, and then he goes to sleep. He was supposed to put YouTube to the run and Twitter. And then Twitter just came back and said, well, we're going to shut you down, mister. And they got away with it. And he said he was going to work on it. He had that meeting with all the YouTubers there and blah, blah, blah. And he was going to, but he never did. I mean, he sleeps a lot. And then, you know what killed it for me? Is, I mean, he may turn out to be a good guy, but what killed it for me is when he's on stage and he's going, that woman's going to jail. And everybody,
yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, he's toasting the Clintons.
Oh, I know.
I mean, that just really did not, you know, increase my faith in him whatsoever. But, you know, we don't even know if he real or exists. I don't even know if I'm real or I exist. We only go by our senses, which our senses are really tricky, you know, at best, And there's just this, I don't know, it's crazy. This is the biggest science fiction movie ever.
It is. It's just the reality's become a laughing stock at how pathetic it is. It's pathetic. It's retarded.
It's really getting really creepy. And there's just so many things that are happening that are not noticed by people at all because they're not observant. They don't really care. They want to get in their clamshell and pull the lid down and just, you know, God bless Fauci. You know, it's just. But another thing I really like about Trump is he says he's going to ditch Fauci. Well, you shouldn't do that before an election.
Well,
because they'll ditch.
He can't fire Fauci. Fauci and him work for the same people. They work for the Vatican. They're both Jesuit shills through and through. And Fauci is someone he's not allowed to fire him. That's basically the nuts and bolts with that. He's just not allowed to. So you know, the Jesuits control the world. And the other J. I'm sorry?
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Any questions for the viewers?
Yeah, let me take a look here. Anybody got questions in there? Let me hop in here real quick. I know there was one up here.
Yeah, because questions always get you thinking,
Yeah, I know. They do. They get your mind going in different directions here. Let's see. Okay, if anyone's got any questions, throw them in the chat in capital letters if you don't mind. I'm trying to scan through. I thought I saw one earlier here.
Well, I had a YouTube up that was it was live question and answers, and it went like for 10 minutes, and then the tumbleweeds started blowing in.
Of course, yeah.
So I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, Disintegral wanted to ask about your time slip stories.
What was that?
Your time slip stories, your
Yeah.
experience with time slips.
Oh, I've had some really crazy experiences. That it just, wow. I don't know. They're kind of personal,
Okay,
so,
that's
so I
fine.
don't really want to. But yeah, I've had a lot of mystic experiences growing up and stuff. And I remember one time, it was odd. I'll categorize it as odd,
Hmm.
not jaw dropping. But I went to I lived in a city and there was Elton John was coming. I couldn't afford it,
Hmm.
and Elton John was performing. So I thought, well, I'll go there and I'll listen to it from outside, right? And all of a sudden, there's this guy comes up to me, and he's going like, "You want to come with me?" Like this, like really wired, and all these guys come out from behind him, and he's going, "Yeah, yeah, get in the truck, man, get in the truck." He's just like, whoa, whoa, and the circle was pushing me towards the truck, and they had the doors open on the truck, so I knew I was gonna die. Basically, they were so crazy.
Jeez.
Wow. And then I saw a cop over there, and he was wearing one of those old-fashioned helmets from the 1800s. You know, the billy hats, I think
Oh
they
yeah,
call.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And then I told the guys, I said, you know, if you don't stop right now, I'm going to scream, and that cop will deal with you, right? And they're all, oh man, oh yeah, well, let's get out of here, you know. So into the van, shut the doors, and to this day, I wonder. Well, no, I've never seen a cop wear an old-fashioned billy hat. Where did he come from? And I
Yeah,
didn't see him
that's
before.
weird.
And it was, but these guys were so unbelievable, and their graphic description of what they were going to do to me once they got in the back there was just like, oh, it was the
Damn.
most scary thing I've ever been through in my entire life.
Ah,
But then
sounds
this
like.
this cop just appears out of nowhere. I didn't see him there, and I asked the cops, "Do any of you cops wear these old-fashioned?" They looked at me like I was from Mars, you know,
Wow.
and it just. But I've had a lot of experiences. Like I got a lot of campfire experiences that I could relate, but you know, it's kind of personal. I don't want to really
Oh yeah, no.
get
Talk about
too
whatever you
much.
want to talk about. You don't have to talk about anything personal. It's all right.
But yeah, I've had my. I'm like Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell has a life where he just falls into everything, and
Hmm.
that's generally been my life. I just fall into everything, and I just fall into conversations with famous people out of nowhere, and you know, like what, and, you know. But Jordan Maxwell, I don't know. He told this guy in an interview that he is a card carrying Mason.
Oh,
And
he's
I,
definitely a Mason. He's definitely a
and
Mason.
I went, what? And then
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that, you know, they disagree with what he says. You know,
Hmm.
they like, he said, you misquoted this or you
He,
misquoted
he
that.
he has. He has. He's you know, he's again, he's a wealth of knowledge, but for the things that he's you know, the things that he's put his name on and attached his name on very blatant disinformation. But he again, he's a genius mind in many other things. I've interviewed him twice on this channel, and I don't really want to go any further with that, but let's just say he pushed Sitchin and that crap, and had the
Yeah.
balls to put that on this channel. You know, fuck it, I'll tell the story. I don't give a fuck. Um, yeah, no, I mean he has the balls to come on my channel and spit out bullshit. Then he deserves to get called out for it. Okay, and I should have done it at the time, but I didn't have much time with him, and I didn't want to cut it off early. Anyways, he came on, he started talking about Sitchin and you know, the whole you know how Sitchin has his translation of the Anunnaki
Yeah.
Sumerian tablets, blah blah, blah, and it's loaded with bullshit. And you know, I mean, some of it's true, but he put in loads of crap. And so I talked to him. I think it was a couple weeks after I interviewed him the first time, and he called me drunk, just out of nowhere. He just called me drunk.
What?
Yeah, he just blindly called me. I know, and just started rambling off on me. And he's like, "Oh, what do you want to talk again? Let's talk." I was like, "Oh, we could talk now a little bit." And I said, "So Jordan, why the hell did you bring up Sitchin and that bullshit on my channel?" He goes, "Well, there's sometimes there's things where you have business arrangements and this and that, business arrangements. Sometimes you have financial obligations." And I go, "Jordan, yeah, but Sitchin's been dead for how long now? So you still have a financial arrangement with Sitchin? 10, 20 years after he's fucking died, Jordan, right? Yeah? Is that what's going on?" He goes, "Oh, well, I still have DVDs out there." I said, "Jordan, who the fuck buys your DVDs? Who's buying DVDs these days?" No. They can find your crap on YouTube in a second, or somewhere on the internet they can find it. And I called him out. I said, "Dude," I was like, "why are you pushing that bullshit?" And, that was his answer. He like I said, he called me. It was so weird. He just called me randomly out of the blue, drunk off his ass, and he told me and wanted to talk. And I asked him that. It was the first thing I asked him, and that was his answer. And that, it's just like, wow. So at least he admitted it. And there is video evidence of Maxwell and Sitchin doing the Masonic handshake. You can look it up. It's out there. There is video proof of it. It's there. Yep, it's out there. They're both Masons.
Well, he predicted the basic end of the world.
In October. Yeah.
And I thought, no, this is what they do is too. You get some unknown who prophesies or sees the future or whatever, and he makes a prediction and it's dead on, eh? Mm-hmm. And then he makes another bigger prediction that's dead on. And then when it comes to the big enchilada, the big one, nothing.
Bullshit. Yep, nothing. Yeah. Not a peep. And I haven't talked to him in a few months, but I heard that he had, I think his house caught fire or something.
Yeah, his house was on
fire. So a lot of people suspect that he ginned up all that stuff about October because of trying to get people to throw more donations or something. I don't know if it's true. I mean, that's what they claim. I mean, again, when I just told you that story, there's other stories out there as well. That's just one story, and the Zachariah Sitchin stuff. Without me even talking about that, it's bullshit. Most of the people listening know it's bullshit, and there's other things he's known for bullshitting. So when you have someone spitting out a lot of great truth, but he still has that bullshit thrown in there, just like every other good disinfo agent, well, then, when he predicts that there's going to be, it's going to be in October, I have an astrologist. It's a very secret astrologist that no one knows. And I'm telling you, she's very correct. He's very correct. They are always spot on. They're like the astrologist to the stars, and they're barely ever wrong. And so when they say something, I listen. That's what he said. And he said, October, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be the likes of which you've never seen. Well, here we are, November 27th, and the world goes on.
Yeah, he always goes on about how he's got no money, eh?
Yeah.
But what people don't realize that he sponsored David Icke to come here.
Yep.
And he sponsored Michael Tessarian. Mm-hmm. And Michael Tessarian says we should build a statue in his name, but David Icke never even mentions his name ever once.
No, they don't like each other, I don't think, yeah.
And he goes on about, and Icke, with that Ventura interview, listen to that carefully. Ventura says, well, how did you support yourself if you went to 129 nations and countries and blah, blah, blah? And he said, I supported myself with my books. But about 5 minutes before that, he was saying he made no money off the books. he had no money, and so who was, it must have been Jordan Maxwell sponsoring him on his tours and everything, and his learning journey and all that.
Yeah,
It's all
well,
sticky.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's also mushy and sticky, and he says, "Oh, I got no money," and then he says some people took over my website, so he's got the new website. How does one legally do that? They said they're selling my books, and people are buying what they think is my books, but it's not. These pirates have taken over, and his show is MaxwellJordanShow.com or something. Yeah, and I'm going, how is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, he could have easily, if he had a lawyer, been able to stop someone using his name and selling his books and all that. No, that's not gonna. But I mean, let me just put it this way: I know he's made that claim. There's been other people I've interviewed who've made that claim, and there's another person who, he's kind of known, but he's not that well known. But someone went through and copied his likeness, I guess. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And created a website and started taking donations and mirroring his videos. And there really was nothing illegal with what he was doing. It's not like he was selling copyrighted stuff. He was just mirroring videos, but not telling people that he was mirroring the videos. And then he created a website very similar to the original person's website, and he was getting donations and stuff. And meanwhile, the guy who gave the information, the original creator, he's very hard up. He's having a rough time at life. But I told people, I said he doesn't even have a website. It's or he did or something, and it's not there. But his only way of contacting him is through his YouTube page and I think email or something. But it does happen. It does.
Well, they had complete control of his site and took all the money from the books and donations. It sounds kind of off. But he's been going, for 60 years now?
Yeah, he's going strong a long time. Yeah, I think 50 or 60.
He still, to this day, will pull out a dollar bill and you can see the pyramid on the bottom. And update yourself, guy.
I know. It's like, I'm trying to. There was a few things I asked him when I interviewed him. What was it? Oh, you know what? What was a tough one getting out of him? Was the outside job that happened in September a long time ago. You can tell when I asked him what if he thought it was real or fake, or if it was an outside job. He didn't want to answer it. He was very reluctant. You can go back and look at it. It was very obvious that he was uncomfortable with that question. And my first interview with him did very well. I don't know how many not likes or how many views it has. I think it's got, I don't know, like about 5,000 or 7,000, something like that. But when I asked him that question on the next interview, I think to this day that interview only has like 700 views. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know it's because of that question. I'm 1,000% sure of it. Because he's not supposed to be asked that type of question. I don't think. That's basically the bottom line.
Yeah, it's outside the script.
Yeah, he's got people he's got to answer to.
Oh, but that kills me when he brings up the pyramid every time. It's like, we've been through this how many times?
It's crazy, isn't it?
But I enjoy listening to him.
Yeah.
He's got a wonderful fireside chat.
He does. And look, again, it's like every other. Look, we're saturated with it, right? There's disinformation agents everywhere. It's just the way it is, and a good researcher or is gonna take their time and cross-reference what every person says that they listen to, and they're gonna take it upon themselves to figure it out. They're not just gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna eat spoon-fed fucking stuff of truth apparently, and I'm just gonna digest it and say, oh, okay, it's definitely true. Everything is true that person said. No, everyone listening right now to you and I should not fucking trust what we're saying. They should take it upon themselves and figure it out for themselves. That's what you got to do. That's how it works.
I was going to mention when you were saying, what was the big wake up call in your life and stuff. There was a time when I was running for council, and that was an awakening process. They are so, you stand up for the right things, you put a target on your back, and they come for you. And I have never in my life seen such debauchery, such evil, such control. And this is just a small city, so something like New York or something just scares the crap out of me. I mean, they were on my case right from the get-go, and then I got a newspaper interview, and it was just sound bites of misinformation. And my picture, right, for the article, he chose one where I was about to sneeze, and he pasted that up. I was like, I've had my freedom out of me. Not just like little minuscule unimportant things, and they'll corrupt to the lowest level that they can. But I could write a book on it. It would just there's a serious crime and intimidation, murder, you name it. And it's just a small little city here. But when I think about New York or LA, I just woof. It must be just like Satanists sitting on every bench there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all Satanists, by the way.
Of course, I'm sure. Well, it seems to be the going requirement to be in any sort of political office or celebrity status.
Well, it was a wake-up. It was like, wow, this world is totally saturated. Like, just totally saturated. And people don't understand how controlled they really are.
Mm-hmm. No, they're clueless. Clueless. If they had any clue at all, they would be, we wouldn't be in where we are right now. Let's put it that way. This wouldn't even be a thought in our mind if humanity thought for themselves once in their fucking lives.
Well, they don't believe in themselves.
No, they don't. Well, they like to be spoon-fed.
I can't do that. I'm so scared. Get a flashlight under your face and start snotting and go, I'm so scared.
Yep.
Oh, people are weak. I grew up in a different I grew up like in the 60s and 70s, and people were different. They were more bonded. They were more together. And we wouldn't have put up with this crap. I remember we were against the Vietnam War, and every day in the paper there was a new explosion in some university from protesters. They were blowing things up. And then right on cue, we got to love one another. Yeah. Yes, to love one. Come here, give me a big and it was the hippie movement, and then the Jesus freaks moved in.
Yeah, the Beatles.
Yeah, and turn the other cheek, and it worked, eh? It really worked. They created there's a book called something in the canyon.
Oh, yeah, Weird Scenes from Inside the Canyon by Laurel Canyon by David McGowan.
Yeah, all the beautiful music. All the beautiful music was put together by the CIA so that we could all, hey,
great book.
Go to that protest tonight. No, man. Chill out, man. Listen to the music. And they just accidentally leaked LSD to the populace.
Yeah, accidentally.
Yeah, it's just whoops. Talk about mind control, and people do. It's all one big psyops. Everything's a big psyops.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know, for control and power, and people don't get it. And then when I mention it, you're an idiot. You know, I ought to get a baseball bat and just. It gets so violent that people are under this. It's like in the movie Dark City. Yeah, Dark City. The alien would come up to a guy, sleep.
yeah, that's
It
our
would be,
society.
you know, or Men in Black. They used to have the. And then yeah, I remember dealing with Men in Black years and years and years ago, long before it was popular and trending on Facebook. Oh, it's the strangest experience in my life. They are not human, that's for sure. And they seem to have this weird, I don't know, I can't even explain it. Some feel that they're androids, and they kind of act like androids. They're kind of, you know, like that Sophia robot.
Yeah.
She looks really real, but she's jerky, you know.
Yeah, yeah, you can tell. Yeah.
That's the way they were, and oh. So I've had so many adventures. I mean, and then somebody tells me it doesn't exist, and I just go, yeah, sure, whatever. You know. And there's an online friend I had. I saw a picture of him. Right, he had 4 scars going down like this across his forehead. And I one day went, "What is that? How did you get a rake caught in your head or something?" And he says, "Oh no, I was volunteering for a church, and I heard all the scuffling in the basement. And he went down into the basement, and there was a reptilian going through the boxes, like he was panicking. And he said, 'Well, what are you doing?' And he turned around, the reptilian just sliced right down, and he's had the scars ever since." And I'm sure he's got people telling him that reptilians don't exist. Eh?
Whoa, that's pretty intense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then one thing I noticed about reptilians is they don't die. They're very hard to kill. You can cut their throats open, let them bleed, and they're fine. They're fine. They can cut their wrists and bleed out all the blood within minutes, and then the next morning they're fine. They still got the injury, but they're fine. They just don't seem to. They're very, very hard to kill. One guy was telling me when he was in the army, there was a woman that, a sergeant or whatever. Anyways, she decided she was going to drive up the mountain and commit suicide. So she drove up the mountain and she cut her throat, and she was fine. Wow. All that blood was everywhere, and she was fine. But I've noticed that over and over and over again. They're very hard to kill. They're very hard to kill. Oof. But then people, you know, well, what's that got to do with the price of rice, John? I don't get it, man. Dude, you need help. You know. But it's very relative, because the people living with her, maybe her husband or her children or whatever, you know, it affects them. It's a very serious topic, you know. But no, we don't talk about things like, and this is how it works. There was a church meeting, and the pastor was on stage. He shapeshifted within seconds. The whole audience saw it. Everybody in church saw it. And you know what? After he finished the sermon, nobody talked about it. Everybody was tight-lipped. No. Wow. Nobody talked about it. Nobody brought it up. Nobody mentioned it for weeks and weeks after. They just had this group amnesia.
Yeah, like a mind blank, mind wipe thing or something.
Well, we didn't see anything, you know. You think people would freak and run out the door. And then there was what's that? I keep forgetting her name. She's a singer, and she's kind of fat. Forget the.
You're talking about the one who had the near-death experience, out-of-body experience? Shirley MacLaine?
Well, this
talking about
one
Shirley
was
MacLaine?
Newspapers that she was at the end of the concert or something. She was talking with some people, and they all just like, not that I totally believe it, but they all just freaked out because she turned into a lizard. She went up to about what was it, 7 feet or something, and she was crying and she's going, "I'm not evil. I'm not evil." But then I'm thinking, well, why didn't they take a picture? But somebody said that they were warned not to take pictures. They were threatened physically. So I don't know if it's true or not, but it's interesting, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on, I'm having a. Okay, there we go. We're good. My USB popped out for a minute there on my camera. Anyways, wow. Yeah, that would be interesting.
I got another story.
Sure.
These are politically acceptable stories.
Racist. You're racist.
Yeah. I yeah, what if I don't like Mexican food? Am I racist?
Yeah, you are. Welcome to 2020.
Yeah, okay.
And earlier than that.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm at this fair, and I go to the beach, and they're having this fair, and I feel this really creepy negative energy, right? And you can feel it in the back of your head, you know. It's just like, ugh. And I turned around, and there's this girl staring at me, and she's like this, like Bela Lugosi, right? Just. And then I have people say, "Oh, she was just tired. She was just yapping out." Yeah. And she was just, I kind of looked at her, gave her a real dirty look, right? And it didn't deter her at all. And she just kept like this. And then she kept licking her lips like this.
Whoa.
And I'm going, oh my God, what is this? This was when I was sort of not very knowledgeable. And next thing I know, she's standing right behind me. Well, now I know she was feeding off my energy, eh?
Wow.
And she's and I was going, whoa. And then I just got out of there. And then about a week later, I was at the library, and guess who's volunteering at the library?
Of
and
course.
taking my card. You know, and it was just so creepy. But my very first experience, thank you, doctor. I got to get this out. The very first experience was I was at the mall, and this guy with a package, he walked right past me, but he stared at me, never took his eyes off me. And I knew he knew everything about me. He was sending me some kind of message that he knew everything about me. And then I was listening to Art Bell a while later, and this lady got on, and she says, "Well, I don't want to get off the topic, but you know, I met this man and woman, and they just stared at me, and I walked by them, and I knew that they knew everything about me. They knew everything. There was nothing hidden from them." And I'm going, yeah, ring the bell, because I've been through it, been there, you know, kind of thing. But you know, it's serious. Like I say, people don't believe in this stuff until they, you know, you get the tap on the back of the shoulder, you know, and then they believe. They're the cowardly lion. I do believe. I do believe. You know, they just go nuts. But yeah, it's all part of the journey, and I guess I'm supposed to learn from it. But wow.
Yeah, it's like wow. I mean, how about you want to tell us about your neighbor? How the phantom neighbor who constantly... Oh, okay. We'll be quiet so we don't hear you.
Yeah, they make your life miserable. I think Satan works through neighbors.
And family.
It's just it's very hard to get along with, very hard, but would always pop up when the least, you know, when you don't want to see anybody. They just pop up. They're like magic. They're just there in your face, you know. Oh, that's another good movie, is The Truman Show.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that movie has a lot of messages in it.
Oh, it's jam-packed.
You know, and these people, you know, that really, I've noticed that really bug me in life. They have this sixth sense. They know when you're around, and they'll just pop up, you know, in your life. They just, it's hard to explain, but they just pop up. literally, and they're in your face, and and they're passive aggressive, very passive aggressive. And so you got to be really observant and very, very careful and very alert, you know, and not listen to the naysayers. No, no. No.
Yeah.
But no. Talk to the hand. Oh, and just and with the reptilians, you know where they really show up? Bible studies. They
Ah.
always show up at Bible studies. They always are the ones that are in control of the Bible study. And I could tell you oodles on that one. But then we'd be here for what, 4 days,
Well,
4 nights?
like I wanted to. I mean, there's a couple more things I'd like to bring up, but we don't have to because it is. I know we're a little over 2 hours right now. We're 2 hours and 4 minutes in. So are you
Oh,
okay or?
if it's okay.
I'm sorry.
We can go a little bit longer.
Okay, it's up to you. I want the ball's in your court, so I don't want to. I want to keep you if you're getting tired because we've been going a while.
Well, if I hit the floor, then
Don't worry, I won't call 911 for you. Right? You wouldn't want me to call, right? Well, your wife's
Yeah.
there. I know I wouldn't want anyone to call for me, but
oh,
I would though. I love you. All right, so let's see. Wanted to get into your. Let's see. Scroll up here. Here, let me just give you this comment from Disintegral. I've experienced seeing reptilian entities appearing as a kind of holographic overlay over two of my friends' faces. So,
yeah.
And then Desert Rat says, if someone turns into a lizard in front of me, the first thing on my mind is not getting a photo. I'd agree with that. Let's see. Where did it go here? I know there was a... okay, yeah. Willie wanted to ask, what's your opinion on Tartaria? You want to talk about that? The mud flood, any of that stuff?
Oh, the mud flood. I'm just getting into it now, but it is very amazing how all this architecture is all based on Greek architectural, and it's very advanced for people building log cabins and wooden stores and stuff to have this incredible monument, of pure art. Where they have little people in it all around, carved in there and stuff like this. This is way ahead of their time. And then they say, well, it was a population and it was put together by miners and stuff like that, and it just doesn't jive.
No. Yeah, no, it's complete crap. They basically inherited the buildings in some form. Probably not all of them, but most of them.
It's beyond their technology back then.
I mean, it kind of goes to when we were talking earlier when you brought up, the pyramids and all the statues in Egypt and around the world. They are perfectly machine-cut statues and buildings. Perfect. And they have stood the test of time. Those things are so old, we don't know how old they are. It's all pure speculation.
But they cut the blocks 2.5 tons, and they dragged them from 5 miles from the quarry. And well, this is what I mean. This is what the naysayers do. They always come up with these silly stories, and just drives you nuts. Because they're kind of implying you're the idiot.
We're the idiot, but something that cannot even be made today, let alone back when there were horse and buggies, supposedly. Yeah, we're the crazy ones. We're the crazy ones, right? Yeah, we're the crazy ones. Yeah, please.
Yeah, and these bricks, the lightest brick that is on the pyramids is 2.5 tons, and the other bricks are way more heavier. But when you live in the world of lobotomies, I mean, it's just of course they just rolled it on logs, and didn't you learn that in school? Oh no, they don't learn. They don't lie to you in school. You know,
No.
there's a comet. We're taught this big comet is coming down. All the dinosaurs held hands and they died and they turned into oil. You know,
It's
it's
such
a
horse
fairy
shit.
tale.
It is a
It's a
bit.
fairy tale.
It is.
But they died happy. They died happy.
They did. They did. That while they were performing a service for us in the future. That was their
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. Like they take us for idiots, and they're all like that. They're just psychopathic naysayers. You know, they get threatened if you know something they don't know. They get threatened very easy. No, no, you know. Yeah, they're just like seals or something. You want to give them a ball so they can balance it. You know. No, no, that's not funny. You're insulting me. I have my rights. You're a racist.
Racist. You're racist.
Yeah. So
That's one of my favorite bits that you do. Racist. Oh, we love it. It's hilarious. That's a Stargods classic right there. And for anyone who hasn't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to his channel here. It's a great channel. It's in my description box. I'll also pop it in the comment section after the video is completed. And make sure you check him out. He's also got a Patreon page. By the way, I wanted to tell you, I forgot to tell you this, brother. In your About section of your video, your Patreon is not the right address. You need to go in and edit that. It's Star Pods, not Star Gods. So you need to go in and edit that. I meant to tell you this afternoon, but I forgot about it.
Well, nobody else told me.
Well,
You know,
well, I just noticed it today. It's right. I think it's right in your videos, which is probably more important. But in the About section, it's wrong. So
yeah.
So I was thinking maybe we could just touch up lastly on Jesus, because I know Jehovah and Jesus and religion is one of your favorite subjects. So why don't we?
It's one of the controversials.
It's all right. Let it rip.
It's extremely. I was a devout Christian, you know, and rah rah rah, let's go get them. And I was evangelical. I used to be a preacher boy, and I just started falling apart after a while. I just started. Wait a minute, what's with this? They say contradictions. Oh, they're only slight contradictions. There's contradictions the size of the Grand Canyon. But they don't, you know, they just brush that off. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, okay. Run. And I just got to a point where I started asking too many questions, got kicked out of too many churches, and, you know, and I got all this stuff. And then I'm reading the Bible for myself, and all I hear in the Old Testament is, thou shalt not, you know, or he's going to send out his people to cut your throat. And I'm thinking things like that. I'm thinking a different level, eh? I'm thinking the flood. Why did he go through all this Jehovah, the flood, you know, when he could just like that and they'd be gone? Why all this? Because it's the torture that it's a football game for him. Yeah, that one's going down. And I thought, how can a God of love, because Jehovah shows no compassion whatsoever. It's always, but there's another God in there, and I suspect it's the Father God that says, no, let us come and reason together and come before me and repent, and I will forgive you, you know. A different God, whereas Jehovah is like, yeah, cut his throat, yeah, make him bleed. And then one day it really, really, really dawned on me. I went, wait a minute, Jesus? This is a human sacrifice. This is a blood-letting human sacrifice. Oh, he wasn't human. But all the churches say that. He had to be human because, you know, to make it eye for eye, tooth for tooth, and all this. And then I started reading, you know, other passages in the Old Testament where it says that it's a repugnant sacrifice is repugnant to the Lord. Probably the Father, not Jehovah. He loves a good show. And then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, this is a blood ritual sacrifice. Satanists do this. And then they got the communion, where they have the blood and they have the flesh, right? I call them Dixie Cup Christians because they're catching the blood with their Dixie cups. I'm saved in the Lord. Whereas the Old Testament said all you have to do is repent and bow before the Lord and make your request known, and you'd be forgiven. There was no blood of Jesus. There's no dead Jesus on a cross going, help, help. That's okay. I got my Dixie cup. And then we had to sing. So I sang songs like in church, the bathing in the blood of Jesus. Wow, I just felt like going, what are you people, vampires or something? Well, we all get a scoop. It's just like, what? And so I started questioning it, and then I realized that a lot, and then in came Gnosticism. See, I built all my ideas, and now I find out that it's all Christian Gnosticism. And that explained a lot, like the Jehovah. I mean, and then I'm thinking, I'm white. Can I say white? I'm
Racist.
a white Caucasian. Why am I serving and worshiping a Jewish God of wrath, vengeance, and war? Well, what's going on with this? And then he has zero tolerance. Remember Adam and Eve? Well, they were exercising something that was God given to them, curiosity. And then when the next moment, get out, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, But and then what? I'm gonna put this curse on you, curse on the man, and I'm gonna curse the servant. You're all cursed. You're all kicked out, and he puts up the flaming. Wow, that's a loving God. I mean, gee, that's a wake up there, But then I started to realize that Jesus was actually praying to the Father, not Jehovah. He didn't go, dear Jehovah in heaven, how sharp be thy knife, thou shalt not, every 2 seconds, thou shalt not. And then if you eat a ham sandwich, it's an abomination to the Lord. I thought he was loving and forgiving.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I realized through the Gnostics that Jesus was actually non-existent. And Jesus was, what do you call it, avatar to teach. It's a mythological story filled with analogies. But if you know the symbolism, it takes you down to a way deeper pool of knowledge.
Absolutely. It's all about the symbolism. Yep.
And instead of this little baby Jesus has all 10 fingers, and if you're happy and you know it, I grew up in this sort of really childish world of fairy tales about Jesus, and then people going, I really wanted to have a wedding on Friday, but it says it's going to rain, so they pray, and then the sun comes out. Praise the Lord, a miracle! It's called random chance. You can flip a coin and get better odds, actually. Nah. So, but what really got to me most, it kind of hurt me. It was when and I discovered this, and then I found a book by Bart Ehrman, talking about how he lost his faith because of the evil in the world, the incredible evil and torture and suffering and pain, and God sits there and goes, well, I'm going to come soon. And then Jesus is outside the door, and there's a little girl being raped, beaten, cut with a knife and everything, but Jesus can't return because it's not God's time yet. So doesn't that sound like, and he can hear the cries of the little girl, Jesus help me, and no, it's not my time yet. No man knows the day nor hour.
That's right. It's all hope porn. It's all hope porn for the masses who just are stuck.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then they always go, well, I'm not getting involved in anything because Jesus is coming, and that would be a waste of time. So it's like, I've actually had that with one of my relatives. I'm not taking the garbage out because Jesus could arrive. It's just mental illness, but it's about power and control, and it's like taking the reptile claws and digging them into people and not letting go, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
but then Jehovah, I mean, that's this blood. I mean, what did they do in ancient times? You know, they had the Incas and the Mayans. They'd open up the chest and pull the heart out. Now you go to Catholic Church and there's Jesus with a big cut and it's wide open. There's his heart. Like you getting the message, you know? And I realize now that oh, a lot of things about the Bible. But here's the big enchilada. Where does Christianity come from? It comes from the Apostle Paul,
Mm-hmm.
because Apostle Paul heard a voice, just like Benny Hinn. What's that
Yes.
good?
Yeah.
What's that good? And now you are never to question him. And he has the secret knowledge of Jesus because Jesus taught him that. But what people don't understand is the apostles fought against the Apostle Paul. They just said, "You're not an apostle." And then, because to be an apostle, you had to be with Jesus. He just saw a vision, right? And it says in the book of Revelation, beware of those who call themselves apostles that are not. They're liars and stuff like that. And so it all reverts. It's all that interpretation. So suddenly now Jesus' sayings are thrown out the window. Now you have Paul's doctrine, which is taught. No, he was the first pope. He started all these churches. He was the first pope, and he got rid of all the sayings of Jesus. He turned everything. Jesus said in Matthew, I think it's Matthew 5, that the law will remain here until the end of time. But then Paul says, "Oh no, the law is obsolete due to the blood ritual sacrifice. All you have to do now is have faith." And then James really cuts into it in the book of James, and you know, because to repent before the Lord is works. And he
Mm.
said, "No, no, no. You just take it by faith. You just take it by blind faith. That's all you have to do. You know, pass me a beer." You know, and all Christianity, all I had to rethink the whole thing, is based upon Paul's vision that he contradicts it about 3 different times. One minute he sees the Lord, next minute he didn't see the Lord, but he heard the Lord, and it just gets all mushed up. And there's no witnesses. None
Yep.
of the guys with him says, "We're
Zero.
going to back you up, and we're going to go to the authorities, and we will testify." None of that. And there was another guy, Apollonius of Tyrrhenia. He performed miracles. He did everything Jesus did. Performed miracles, fed the poor and everything. And a lot of people looked to him as the Messiah, but that was kind of all, you know, hush hush. But I think Jesus was real. That there was a real Jesus, but he. I'll just take 5 minutes here. But
Sure.
he was this Jesus, it says in the Bible that he was very charismatic, you know. And so yeah, he had authors, right? Now these authors that nobody knows, it's not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are all given names from the Catholic Church. And if you don't like it, we'll tie you up and set you on fire. And so they're talking about, well, Mark is nothing like John, okay? Mark is this simple prophet, this Jewish prophet who lives in poverty, right? But John, oh, he's the glory, the Son of God, and all the descriptions of Jesus in John come from other pagan gods, the bread of life, and all this, and no man comes to me except through the Father. I think that was Dionysius who said that. Anyways, it's all a montage of all these other gods. But the thing is, my theory is that they really promoted him. They wanted him to be Messiah. He came out of John's ministry. He felt he was Messiah. But then I was talking to this Jewish rabbi. He said, "No, that's crazy, because what the Messiah has to do is come and eliminate Rome, reestablish the kingdom, and rebuild the temple." But then Jesus went into Jerusalem and went into the temple. It was there. It hadn't been torn down, right? So then when scribes and Pharisees come to him and say, well, we want to know, who are you, blah, blah, blah. And he said, a sign will be given, destroy this church, and in 3 days I will raise it up. He was declaring himself to be the Messiah. He felt that he could be the one to raise the temple, because that's what the Messiah was for. But as we all know, the temple was already there, and the Romans occupied. In what 70 A.D. the Romans destroyed them, completely destroyed them, all the Jews, right? So, as a Messiah candidate, he failed miserably. But I think they were hoping to make him God, because by the time you get to John, which was written centuries later, he's God now. He's turned from man. So Bart, what's his name? Bart. Anyway, he writes some great books. And the thing is, but when they were written well after the time of Jesus's death, and they would all have been dead of old age when they were written, because the average lifespan was 40 years. But then, that doesn't go over well with a pastor.
No, doesn't fit right.
And
How dare you?
Pastor that I sat down with, and I wrote out all these things the church was doing that wasn't really in accordance with the scripture. And he looks at me and he says, well, Richard, frankly, I agree with you, but I have my pension to think about. I have my family to think about. I have my house and my mortgage to consider. I mean, hey, he was honest, but it was pretty revealing, eh?
Yeah, no, that's about as honest as you can get, right? I mean, damn. That's, but isn't that the main problem of what we're dealing with on pretty much every profession these days that has any level of authority or remote importance? It's all about the money at the end of the day. It's
and the cherry
their livelihood.
The cherry on top of the whole thing is that Paul was a known liar, and he justified lying for God. If I lie and bring them to God, is that really a sin? And it's like, oh my goodness, am I actually reading this? And then if you really want to expose Paul, it's go to Romans 13, where he instructs everybody to be submissive to the authorities, to obey the authorities, to obey Rome. And he uses a word, the rulers. The translation of rulers is archons, and he wants us to submit to the archons. It's like, wow. And everything that Christianity is built upon is the New Testament that he wrote, because he heard it from a voice from heaven, and we're not allowed to have that voice.
No, you're not. No.
And all Christianity comes down on that. What you had before was Judaism, which was hijacked, twisted, and made into this new Christianity, the religion of blood, eh? So what I say is that, this will be my last wrap up here, is that I believe in Jesus as, it's not a gospel of Jesus, it's a gospel of Christ within. Paul calls it Christ, but there are other pagan groups that go way back to Egypt. Christianity is Egyptianology.
Yes.
That's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
And so they believed in the KRST within, the power of God within. It's not about, if you don't preach to that guy, his blood in hellfire is going to be in your hands. And that's another thing, hellfire. I mean, to burn people alive because they didn't submit to you. Well, I have a question. What? Into the flames you go. But the thing is, everything revolves around what Paul taught. He was the original pope, and everybody, and it was the Council of Jerusalem. That's what the other apostles were referred to as, and they fought him tooth and nail. He changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, we've got two questions. I don't know if you want to take them quick
Sure.
or okay. And then we'll wrap it up. So the first question is from AI. He says, if you could change one thing, what would be your choice?
Getting out of here.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just get out of here at
Yeah.
all costs.
That would probably be, well, I mean, I guess it's change one thing, but that's change one thing for you. But I guess, yeah, that's probably what I would wish for too. Yeah, we're on the same page with that one. All right, Disintegral asks, what's your position on the ascension business, quote unquote? Sure, something is happening, but what is it really? So, what do you think people are experiencing? I mean, there is some sort of awakening going on. Is it as massive as we think? I mean, I don't really think it is as massive as we think because I think with the whole truth stuff in general, there's multiple levels to learning these things. And so, what do you feel about the whole ascension thing? Is it mostly I don't know. What's your opinion on it?
How would you define ascension?
I guess spiritually growing out of your shell, right? Like growing out of your old self of being linked in with the
Yeah.
system and
Yeah, is
not being
this
as materialistic.
yeah, is this the idea that this is all one big school? And
Mm,
yeah, I don't buy that at all. I have every right to think that this is a prison. This is an absolute prison, and it's filled with torture, pain, suffering that people don't even experience in life. They just go to work and they come home and they think they're real, that this is heaven on earth. And, there's untold suffering. There are children dying every day, and where's God? Sleeping?
yeah.
God is an MIA or an absentee landlord because we're getting nothing. We're getting little girls are sliced and diced and thrown into shallow graves every day. Where is this Jesus is supposed to come and help us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one story, a little short story. Uh, this girl was playing on her bike. She went down to the end of the road, which she wasn't supposed to. Instantly, a truck pulls up. Hey, little girl, you wanna lift home? And all the neighbors saw this, and they were watering their lawns and cutting. And they saw this, and they were screaming at the top of their lungs, "Don't get in the truck! Don't get in the truck!" And she thought it was a game, and because she's young, and she got in the truck. Somebody came out, took the license plate number, and it took the cops an hour to go to this guy's place, which I find really amazing. They found the guy, and the guy had beaten her, raped her, sodomized her, cut her into little bits, and was already in a plastic bag waiting to be buried. Where was Jesus? Where was God? I just don't get it. And they say, "Oh, well, God works in mysterious ways." Well, that's not an answer. You know what I mean? And where's Jesus? He's standing with his watch going, "No, I can't get involved yet. It's not my time." And then people think they're going to go to heaven because the Bible clearly states that in this mythical rapture, Jesus is coming down. We meet him in clouds, but then he's going straight down to the earth to set up the kingdom of God on earth. That was the whole message. That's another thing Paul changed. It was no longer about the kingdom of God on earth. It was about heaven, and you got to do this, and you got to follow Paul's teachings, or you burn in hellfire. There's a really good page to really read, and that's whatjewsbelieve.com. And that you get a whole different perspective. You get a rational, sensible, not that I'm going to become a Jew or anything, but very rational, sensible, very, very easy to understand. And they explain, and their explanations of Jesus and stuff it's basic logic. You know, he didn't set up the kingdom. He didn't destroy Rome. He didn't rebuild the temple. None of that.
Yeah.
So he was disqualified as the Messiah.
Mm.
But now they try to fudge it. Well, yeah, okay, but he is God. He is God. So by the time you get to the chapter of John, he says, like, I am the way, the truth, and these are all requotes from pagan gods who all said that they were from the bread and they died for the sins of man and everything. Why can't Jehovah, the big boy there, why can't we go before Jehovah with a broken heart and say, please, Father, forgive me? Well, he's not the Father, but please, big Jehovah, forgive me for my sins. You know what you're going to get? Get thee hence. You know, that's what you're going to get. You're going to burn, and I'm going to enjoy every moment.
That's a Stargods classic right there.
Well, it's the Italian, as
Yeah.
I say.
My grandmother was like that. Same shit.
Oh, with my family, they had to duck because everything.
All right, brother. I think we'll probably leave it at that. It's been a hell of a good time. Please, everyone, check the description for the link to Stargods' YouTube channel. Check it out. It's got a lot of great content. I noticed a lot of your older videos are gone.
Well, because of that, what was it? That COPPA law was coming in.
Oh, the stupid, yeah.
And I had a private video. I was filming lakes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They flagged me for that.
For filming
and
a lake?
It was private. And I thought, well, if I'm in danger with the public ones, I got to get them off. So I had about 500 that I just had to remove.
You deleted them?
What is it, a $4,000 fine per video?
That's what they claim. That's crazy. So did you delete them, or did you just make them private, or?
Yeah, I deleted them.
Oh no!
Because the other one was private and it was flagged. So I thought, well, I just deleted
And how many years you've been making videos for? How many years now?
Almost 14 years.
Oh my God, that's so many videos.
Oh, there were some amazing videos.
That's horrible.
Oh yeah, some of them were very, very dynamic.
Well, I mean, you honestly, if you kept the majority of them, you probably would have been deleted by now. I think it was.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, just the evolution of how this is all broken down over time. It's if you cover anything controversial, remotely controversial, like they'll try and throw strikes at you. But if you go after a topic they really don't like, then they'll just figure out a way to cancel you right away. So.
Well, you'll wake up the next morning and your account won't be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I try to keep it. I try to do my best to keep up with the way they're acting.
The keywords,
Yeah.
Yeah, the keywords. There's words that people are so mind controlled. One word spoken, and they go mental. They go absolutely mental. And one of those words is Jew. Go outside and just go, Jew. Yeah. What did he say? He wants to put more Jews to death? He's a Hitler lover? Is that what he's saying? No, I didn't say anything. I just said one word. And everybody's so emotionally, like they get this emotional knee-jerk reaction. And I always say, well, what have they done for you that you have to shed tears? Just one word, without any context whatsoever, or the N-word. Oh, you never say the N. They can say the N-word, but we can't. We're not allowed to, So if you stub your toe and you go, that stupid N-word, then, oh, racist, let's go get him. Let's beat the crap out of him. Teach him a lesson.
You're a racist. Yeah, that's a common occurrence that gets thrown at you.
Well, personally, I don't like all the races equally. I grew up with some races that were just hideous. They were rude,
Yeah.
uh, xenophobia. They were dirty. They were filthy. I'm not going to say which race it is, but I don't see myself equal with them.
Mm.
You know, and I don't see myself with psychopaths that are of a different color, because then I don't see myself equal with a psychopath. I think I'm better than a psychopath, but shh, you don't want to riot, you don't want to shut them down. Let's go get them. Just like Frankenstein, eh? In that, just as a side note, the Frankenstein, where the original, where he comes into the town, he has a little girl and she's dead. They cut out a scene to explain that. She was throwing little, dandelions into this lake, and then he's doing it too, right? And then all of a sudden, he picks her up and throws her into the lake, and that was taken out because it was too violent. So that's the whole movie doesn't make sense. Well, how did this girl die? But they're all coming to get him. We're all Frankensteins in the end. Shut him up, shut him down. Thou shalt not, from the churches and.
Oh God, yeah, it's no, I mean it's we all grow up in different times, and the way they drop this SJW crap on children and young adults today is just turned our society into a bunch of wusses. And
it's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, what happened?
Bizarro.
I mean, just think about the transformation in what, 15 years, maybe a little less than that, but not much. And I mean, what was back in the day? You used to be able to joke about anything, and it was a joke. Yeah. It was a joke. You laughed at it. You didn't take it as offensive or serious. When someone says something offensive and means it versus in a joking manner. It's ridiculous.
That movie, Gran Torino.
Oh yeah, great movie. Yeah.
They're laughing and joking, the stupid N-word, all this. And in the end, like, he can't stand these so-called gooks, right? Because he was in the war in Vietnam, but in the end, he sacrifices his life for them. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a beautiful movie. Yeah. They just irritated him, and he learned to deal with it. And it wasn't real hate, and
it was just part of growing up in the surroundings that he grew up in, or that he was living in. That's it. It's just, again, you adjust to your surroundings no matter what it is, and you break little balls and the other person breaks little balls, and that's it. I mean, it's just, I grew up in the Northeast. I mean, it's around New Yorkers and people from Boston. It's it's you get the run of the mill of everybody. So I mean, people are just sensitive jerk-offs these days.
If I had a company, okay, and I put up a job thing in the paper, and a Jew shows up, a Chinese shows up, and a black guy shows up, I don't care about their skin color. Can you do the job? If you do the job, you're hired. Each man stands on his own merit. It has nothing to do with skin color. And what's more than skin color is actually the culture. You may not agree with somebody else's culture, and that's considered racism. Like, I don't like the idea that Chinese eat dogs and cats, right? So apparently I'm a racist. Like, it's stupid. I don't want to eat dog or cats. I don't want to kind of group around, chum around, and be cozy with people that eat dogs and cats and dead ancestors or whatever. I mean, it's just, some of these Chinese stores I've been into, they slaughter the pig. There was one, they slaughtered the pig. It was right behind the cash register, all split open and the guts coming out. And I'm going, I got to get out of here. I'm surprised somebody didn't go, look at the racist run. And I'm not equal. I consider myself well above psychopaths. I don't consider myself equal to psychopaths.
Mm.
But then if they're of another race or culture, well, you're a racist, No, I'm anti-psychopath.
Yeah, you're exactly. You're anti-psychopath. Exactly.
But
So
that
what's
brings
so
up
hard to understand about that, right?
one quick story was what was it? Jack the Ripper, right? They
Mm.
had three suspects. One was Aaron Kaminsky, who was a Jew. They had to drop him because that would create too much controversy. So they had to investigate the other two as being the Ripper, and they had to let this guy go. So then there was a witness who came forward and said, "That's him." Picked him out in a lineup. Aaron Kaminsky said, "That's the guy I saw with the woman. That's the guy." Well, will you go to court? No, I'm Jewish and I can't talk against my fellow brothers, and so that's why he was never caught.
Mm.
But and then it said in a back alley, the commissioner of the police found a where they took chalk. The Ripper had taken chalk and wrote, "The Jews are not the men to be blamed for nothing." They immediately that was washed off, not investigated, no follow-ups. It's just because it's too political. And today it's like super, super, super political. I mean, there was a guy who talked about bringing his lunch, and he said, "Oh, I brought my lunch in a brown paper bag." He was kicked out of the university for that. It was racism.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God, that's right. I remember you said that on one of your shows. I couldn't believe that.
it's just it's unbelievable. You can't say anything.
Mm.
But that's what I like about Gran Torino. Now you get the real picture, right?
Yeah. Yep.
He didn't hate everybody in the movie. He didn't want to, and I don't know. People are just going down in quicksand, and there's all these people that are going down the quicksand. They got their hand out, "Help me, help me," because they just want you to. They just want to pull you into their quicksand so they don't die alone, And everybody's just using everybody, and it's just drives a sane man nuts, you know. Yeah, and so we've got to get our brains together and be reasonable.
It's not going to happen, but it's nice
Nope,
that
it's
we
reasonable.
can all sit down and congregate together and discuss these things and bounce ideas off each other and talk like normal, thinking people and not
Well,
get offended by everything.
My uncle was a real racist, but
Yeah.
he went through the war. He signed up and got in at the age of 17, and he got messed up in the head. And I am absolutely convinced that something happened that made him racist. But it still doesn't make it right. But there are reasons too why people, are they just kind of flip out. But I mean, he knew what was really going on, because when you're in the war and you're watching your friends' heads blow off, reality.
Yeah.
You don't have time for these games, right?
Yeah.
And every Vietnam vet that I ever talked to in the bar always sat in the corner with his back to the wall. And he just had this all of them would have this no BS attitude, eh?
Yeah.
And they just see us as just wimps. We don't have a clue at what terror and that they went through.
No. My grandfather, he was, he was just like a medical professional in World War II. And my father and my grandmother said he was never the same after he came back from that war. And my grandfather was one of the most quiet, reserved people ever. But if you ever mentioned the war or anything was brought up, you get teary-eyed, and he would just walk away or leave the room, but he wouldn't say anything. He would just mute completely when it came to that topic. And when people who see a real war, you can tell by talking to them. You can feel it. You can see it.
There was remember Jerry Lewis, his son Gary Lewis was went to Vietnam, and he's sitting down with his plate of food, and his best friend's over there, and all of a sudden a mortar comes in, and his best friend's guts are all over his food plate. I
Mm.
mean, that's reality. And these people come back, they know reality. I respect them so highly. They know reality. I remember my uncle just breaking down with his beer, and he'd just be sobbing on the table, just sobbing. And then, oh, he was just telling me these horrible stories of suffering. Him and his buddies, they came across a 10-year-old girl and they lined up and raped her to death.
Huh.
You know, and
Jesus.
you know, where's the Lord? I mean, you know, come
Yeah,
on.
where's he at? Yeah. Yeah.
You know, MIA is what it is.
Yeah.
But those people I have the
Non-existent.
highest respect for.
All right, I think we have one more final question, and then this is it. We're going to wrap it up after this. Don the Dragon Slayer says, what are your thoughts on people saying the rapture is going to happen any minute? I think I know this answer.
I was going to address that ascension again.
Oh, sure.
That's
Yeah.
They're just building that up with the 100th monkey effect.
Exactly.
It's being shaped and molded,
Mhm.
and you know, don't get involved. Don't get involved in violence. You know, well, the American Revolution, that wasn't violent. I don't get it. You know, oh no, you got to kiss the flower. You know, and people say, oh yeah, violence. Yeah, I get accused of promoting. I don't promote violence. If you're in a situation, you have to decide for yourself.
Yeah.
Is this situation for violence?
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
you basically know what they're doing. They're trying to pacify the country with bullshit. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's to lower people. Oh, so forget about everything that's really going on. Everything's love and it's roses and flowers and unicorns and rainbows. Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, just forget about everything that's going on. Just forget about it. If you're living a miserable existence, no worries. It's fine. Don't even think about it. Just remember peace and love, and follow this
Oh,
new age
remember,
huckster while you're at it.
yeah. Remember the story of Jesus where he's in the temple? He gets ropes and makes a whip, and
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
he didn't turn the other cheek.
No, he didn't. Nope.
He didn't go, hey pal, come here, love hug. Give me a love hug.
Exactly. He busted
Yeah.
out a can of whoop ass. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they don't get it, and they just kind of,
No.
I don't know. And there's some kind of hypnosis in the world.
Oh, it's
Just put
massive.
everybody to sleep.
Massive. It's the TV.
Like the movie Sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and they. But what about this? What about that? Sleep. 9/11 was an inside job. They're awake, you know.
Yeah. All right, brother. I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been a lot of fun. I don't want to hold you anymore. We're almost at the 3-hour mark, but I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. I'm
Well,
glad you came
great.
on. Yeah, and maybe we'll be able to do it again sometime.
Just send me a link where you upload
Yeah.
so I can.
Trust me, it's gonna probably take knowing YouTube with the way they process. I guarantee it'll be at least 20 hours before it's available to download. So I'd wait just a little while. I'll send it to you once it's fully complete. That
Okay.
way you
In
get it.
closing, I just want to plug
Yeah, please do.
this other channel, UGEtube. I got the if people go in the description.
Oh yeah,
box.
UGEtube, right?
Yeah, Utah
Gun Association. Yeah, you turned me on to that. I signed up for it because of you.
Oh
Yeah,
it's
no.
got all the bells and whistles and
Yep.
tools that YouTube has, and
Yep.
it's fast uploading, and they
Yep.
don't give a flying fig what you talk about.
No, they
They
don't.
care.
No.
I've never been bothered by them ever.
Yep.
And so, in the best, but if people go to BitChute, BitChute takes me like 4 hours
Yeah.
to upload,
BitChute
and then it
sucks.
doesn't go through. If they don't like it, it will never go through. And
Mhm.
BitChute is just, you don't get tools, you get nothing, you know. But it's very popular, so I'm always trying to, get people onto UGEtube there.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend it too. I started a channel there because of you. And it's amazing for people who are YouTube creators. All you do is if you have a video on YouTube, you just copy the YouTube link and you put it in the upload link once you create a channel, and it literally just copies the video, the description, the title, everything right over to the website. It's beautiful. You have to put like zero effort in to copy like your entire channel over. You have to go video by video, but you don't have to do all the fine details. BitChute's a piece of shit, and it's a controlled opposition site. So anyone who wants to upload there, just forget it. It's been set up that way since day one and hasn't changed a bit. It's a pile of garbage.
It takes forever to get a video.
No, it's a pile of garbage. It's like that on purpose. There's a reason why it's like that.
Well, they've censored me several times.
Yeah, I've heard other people say the same thing.
No way I get it up. No way I get it up.
Yeah.
And what's amazing with YouTube, and I've had this confirmed by other people, I'll have a controversial, tube or video, and then it says cannot upload because of this or that or blah blah blah. So I say, okay, who cares? I'll just try it again. Mm-hmm. And now that video's gone off my computer, off my hard drive.
Wow.
There's at least 15 people that have agreed with me. Yeah, I go back and it's gone. It's nowhere to be found. Or you just didn't work hard enough. You know? Just a little scar there. It hurts.
Yeah,
but
so
no, it's the same thing.
Everyone check out. It's the Utah Gun Association, right? Or UGEtube.
Every video of mine in the description.
Oh yeah. Check out Stargods' description tab of any of his recent videos, and you'll find it there. And sorry.
Another thing about the YouTube, if you're there and you comment, you can say anything you want. I'm thick-skinned. I don't care. I've been called every name in the book. I don't care. It just if you have a need to tell me off, feel free. I mean, I don't censor it at all. I refuse to censor.
Yeah, well, I didn't censor. One of the first things I've ever censored was tonight when you and I were having a conversation and they decided to throw the N-word in the chat, and it's right on the screen, so I just removed that. But that's because it puts the channel at risk. So, but
they speak for their own. I mean, if they're some kind of maniac ape, well, then people can see, oh yeah, this guy's a real maniac ape. But because I realize people get mad and they need to let off steam, and then if I irk them in some way. But I had one guy say, I'm not watching your videos anymore because of those strange noises you make. And I'm going, what do I say to that?
Yeah, that's I don't think you can really respond to that one. I don't know.
People just oh yeah, I get a lot of Christians saying you can't say that, and then there's that old joke by what's his name, Bill Hicks. Oh, I can't say that. Well, then forgive me. Throws them right off.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to learn, and in the end, really, in all honesty, I wish I took the blue pill. Well, everybody I know is stupid, but they're happy. They're like stupid dogs waving their tails, and they don't have to worry about anything. And
no, but what if again? Like I am fully convinced there's pretty much nothing that can budge me to ever change my mind on this. Again, I think we're here to learn how to liberate ourselves. Yeah. Right? So if you didn't learn that, then you just be coming back here, right? Or in some form. That's
what Jesus taught in his stories. He was a liberator.
Exactly.
He gave us knowledge to overcome this is a prison, and I'm absolutely convinced, and this is where people are going to just flip out. is that I do believe the Earth is flat because in a holographic existence, you need a flat film, a flat base film. You can't have a hologram on a round Earth, but I think it's flat. And all the ancients always taught the same thing from all the cultures of all the world, that we're living in a flat world that has a dome. Nobody's got very far except the Apollo mission, and we all know about that. It falls apart like light speed. But this is a prison. You know, what do you do with cattle? What you do is you corral them, keep them confined, and you milk them all day. And so this is what the Archons are doing. They got us confined, and they're just getting that milking the loosh out of us, you know, every day, making our lives absolutely miserable. And then, and just quickly, you know, you got a job interview, and you're really nervous. You get all dolled up and everything. Suddenly, you can't find the car keys; they're gone. And the stress and the energy and everything. And then you look and look and look, and then you say, the hell with it, I'll lose the job, or I'm not going back. And there's the keys, right where they're always been.
Yeah.
But then people say, "Oh no, you don't understand how the mind works," and you're going to explain it to me, right? Well, yes, you know. But you know, like right on the counter, right? You know, and you look and look and look, and they're nowhere, and then there they are, you know. And every time I do a video, all of a sudden everybody's acting up. There's all these dog walkers, there's people yelling and shouting. Then one time I hear this, hey, hey! Oh, what? And it's some dog guy trying to catch up with this other dog guy, you know. So they can bond, eh? They have these bonding sessions. Then my window is like so close to the highway there that, and then it's all gone.
Yeah. The second you're over with all your video, it's a quiet. But before that, there was a parade going outside your door.
And there's somebody at the door. Do you know where Mary Wilson lives? No, I don't. You know, and there's all this commotion all of a sudden, and then it just settles down. I don't think that's accidental. I think it's a loosh program, eh? My phone.
We got a fan here. That's good.
No, there's nothing there. Probably the Archons calling. Yeah, we don't like the way
it's the Archon Radio Network. So I've sold my soul, apparently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm being told, at least. So, whatever.
Well, we should wrap it up.
All right, let's roll it out. That was a shitty way to end it, but anyways, I had a great time with you, brother. It's been fun. All right, Thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you, Stargods. You're funny as hell. Love you, brother. Have a good night, everybody. It's been fun. Take care.
Have a good night.
Much love and blessings to you all.